Alright guys, so let's get going with our class 6 and we're gonna try to implement today the vCenter, and we're gonna try to understand that. But before that, we need to understand what was our current configurations of our VMware environment. What have we configured till now, and what is needed to be configured. So the main thing is, if you got any issues with your lab, just have that screenshot, uploaded. So I would know that this is the reason you were not able to upload a screenshot. Otherwise, let me just show the whole lab, and those who can follow. If you got any errors, just take the screenshot of that. Try to troubleshoot, but take the screenshot. The rules that we've been following, and we need to go ahead and cover a lot of other topics as well. Okay, VM should I power on, please? Which VM? Okay, so Zian, wait for me, and okay, yeah. So guys, first of all, we need to check our current configurations, and the configurations are here for our VM. Now, before starting, I am just checking that, okay, my server 1 has what kind of RAM. So it is 2 GB. Okay, my server 1 is okay. So I'm just gonna start first server 1. Then I need to check my server 2 RAM as well. And server 2 RAM is 2 GB. That is that's too less. And I haven't started server 2, but I started server 1 already. And Esxi1 has 4 GB and Esxi2 has 4 GB. Okay, we get that. So what we can do is, I've started server 1, and Esxi1, I'm just gonna start that to Esxi1 I've started, and also server 2, just to get the current configuration, and then go ahead from there carefully by installing the vCenter. That's a big one. So we're going to try to understand what it is and how to configure it. And the whole VMware course actually revolves around the vCenter, which is an enterprise grade application. And with the help of vCenter application, we mainly manage and administer the whole VMware environment. So, but first of all, what is our configuration currently? So I've started server 1, server 2, and Esxi1 only. I did not start Esxi2. Well, we don't need to right now. We just need to check that can we do some of the tasks. Can we connect from server 2 to Esxi1 remotely? Can we see the inside of our hypervisor? So we just need to check it out. Also, before we deploy the vCenter, then I'll just also put that let's add 8 more NICs or network interface cards to both Esxi01 and Esxi02. Why? Because we will later need those network cards, that many network cards, making total of 9. So I'm just writing it, but I'll explain that when we're coming there. Okay, so there's a lot of chat going on. Our machines are saying license expired. What did you do this channel? No worries, install them again. Oh, that's Harpreet saying my machines are. Use the serial number from VMware website to fix it. Yeah, there are free 2-year keys available in VMware website that you can also use. And how come your license for what? License for Windows, Harpreet, or
No, when I'm trying to start my VMware Server 1, it's saying license expired. You cannot start it.
oh, the VMware workstation? Okay.
Yeah.
So
what should I do?
yeah, you can, as Seth said, also you can go to your that VMware official student site, and there's a VMware workstation license key there. If you've installed the same version as 15.5, I think 15.5 is there in that VMware official student site. So just grab the key from there and put it here, and it's going to be available for you for 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can find it under your account order. Saf is writing it there. Okay, let's check out our configuration here. So I'm gonna go back to our lab, and before that I'll just try to create a diagram as well that I'll grab it quickly from so I have this OneNote installed as well, and it has some diagrams, so I'll just copy that. This is the initial phase where we are right now, so lots of stuff to do. So currently our situation is this, and we have member server, but we haven't installed the vCenter yet, so I'm just gonna remove that. Now what we were able to do till the last class that happened is that we deployed the two hypervisors. We added their names in our DNS here. Then from the browser, HTTPS. So HTTPS : we remotely connected to Esxi1 and or Esxi2, and that's what we need to see, that if we can log in from server 2 and go to the browser and type HTTPS and the name of the or IP of Esxi01, suppose your first name is Esxi1, can we still connect remotely to the hypervisor, as we were able to do that in the last class. So let's try to check it out. Can we do that? So I've started server 1, I've started server 2, and Esxi1 for now. We don't need Esxi2, right, for now. So let's log into server 2 and try to remotely connect to Esxi1. Are you able to do that or not? So let's check it out first, and then we go step by step with next steps. Step by step with next steps. So I'm just gonna go back here to my lab, and I'll just so I'm inside server 2, or I'll log in now to server 2, and it was your first name admin, small abc, abc shift 123 without shift 123. That was a class password. So I'm logged into server 2 here, and then I want to connect remotely from server 2 to hypervisor Esxi1. So I'm just gonna first go to the Esxi1. Anyone knows what is the name of this area? So this will come in your midterm exam as well. That what is the name of this area, or I'll put true and false actually. All the questions, 45 questions, true and false, and I'll say that this area is called BIOS, basic input output per system. Basic input output system, right? So it's DCUI. Sylvester says it. Yay! Yes. So DCUI. Anyone knows the abbreviation of DCUI? What does that mean actually, or abbreviate actually? DCUI. Hey, by now I would have googled it. Come on. Okay. So it's direct console. So it's direct console user interface, right? In your midterm exam, I'll just put 25 questions, which will be true, false, and will be also it will be an open book exam, and whatever we covered, it will come from there. So direct console user interface. What do we do here? We directly connect here, and we configure our username, our machine name, and IP address, static IP address, and etc. All those things, right? So I'm just gonna go back to server 2, and I'm gonna open that browser. Now, were we using the IE Internet Explorer browser, or if I minimize this server manager here, well, we actually don't have the Chrome here, right? So this means that we were using only IE. So I'm just gonna open that Internet Explorer here. Maybe we have that in, okay, here also server 1, where I'm already logged in. We were using this. So I'm just connecting from the server 2 to ESXi1. I just need to know what is the name I gave to ESXi1. It is your first name, so Amir ESXi1. I gave this name to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type http:// your first name ESXi1 in the browser of server 2 to remotely connect to ESXi1, the hypervisor. So I'm here, I'll open the browser and I'll go to this and type the URL http:// and your first name ESXi1. So it should let me connect, right? I'll just click here and then I'll click the continue to this website. Let's click the continue to this website. So if the spellings are correct, then you will be able to connect. If you're not able to connect, then you can even type the IP that you've given to the ESXi server 1 or ESXi hypervisor 1. And the IP already is showing on the DCUI or direct console user interface. So it's still, I click that continue to this website, and then I'm able to see this screen where anyone knows the username password here. So is that the Windows logged in username password, your first name admin? That's what I should put here, right? To connect to the VMware remotely. This is the Windows based password. I just logged in from this Windows server here if I hover my mouse. So this is your first name admin. So should I log in from this user account? I think everyone should agree that yes, log into this user account to connect to the hypervisor ESXi1 and the ESXi password. Okay, so the user safe is saying user is okay, and I should put the ESXi password. Oh no, so what should I put here in the username? Anyone knows? What? Root. There you go. So it is how we yeah, it's root, exactly. So root is the username of the hypervisor, and then I'll put the password, which is whatever we gave the password there. And Cure has given the excellent password there. Exactly, this is the password we should use, which Cure just used it. *******. So log in. So once this is logged in, then we will try to, okay, so it's logged in and we're good. So this is the hypervisor, and in this hypervisor we have one virtual machine as well. And remember that we installed or created the virtual machine there. So that virtual machine is there as well with this hypervisor. In the storage, normally we have a data store, and this data store is created as a partition on top of a physical disk. So if I go back down to this, so there's a physical disk here, and this is on ESXi1 hypervisor. There's a physical disk here, right? So those physical disks have on top of them, first of all, they should be formatted with what? With VMFS, which is VMware File System. VMFS, VMware File System. And then they are partitioned with that data store. So just like suppose in Windows drive you have partition there, C partition and D drive, and it is formatted with NTFS partition, right? In Windows, NTFS. So there in VMware it is VMFS, right? So whoa, what happened? Okay, so here this is the same thing here, that in two hypervisors, or whenever you install a hypervisor E6i1, so what happens is that it gets the disks automatically gets formatted with VMFS or VMware file system, and there's a data store created, which is just a partition formatted with VMFS. So data store 1, its name is always, the first data store on the server is always data store 1, right? So that data store 1 is there, and data store 1. So what happens is that the virtual machine that will be created now, obviously first thing you need to know is that virtual machine does not detect or see a physical disk directly. It only sees a data store. If it sees a data store, this means it has detected the storage. If it does not detect a storage, this means you did not create a data store. Suppose you added a second disk here, right? And that second disk has not been formatted with VMFS, and that second disk is, there is no data store created on top of that. This is just a raw 1 terabyte disk, suppose. So virtual machine cannot directly see that disk, right? So you have to format it with VMFS partition and create a data store on top of that for the virtual machine to actually be able to use it. Virtual machine cannot use that disk other than the raw device mapping RDM. That's another feature, RDM, where it can actually use a raw disk as well, but that's for a really specific scenario. So Arun says this is recorded. Let me check it out. Yes, this is recording. Yeah. Okay, so confirming that, and here, so we got this virtual machine. Virtual machine cannot see a raw physical disk. It can only see a storage if there's a data store installed on top of that, right? So one data store is always installed when you install the whole hypervisor. First time when you install hypervisor, it just creates a data store, formats the disk. So we get that. Second thing is that the same story goes with the networking as well. We were talking about storage, that okay, there's a data store which is a partition on top of VMware partition on top of a physical disk. What about the network card? So suppose this samosa shaped thing is network card, right? So everything for me is samosa, I don't know why. Okay, anyway, so suppose this is a network card. I'm just gonna put those names there as well. This is phi disk, physical disk, right? And this is obviously also a physical disk. This is also a physical disk, and this is a phi NIC, yay! Which is physical network card, right? So you would have HP, Dell, IBM physical machines there, on top of which you would have hypervisors installed, right? So this physical network card, so the rule of thumb, always remember, is, maybe I've mentioned that in previous classes as well, that virtual machine, first of all, cannot use a raw disk unless you install format it with VMFS and partition it with a data store. Also, a virtual machine cannot directly see a physical network card. It cannot directly connect to a physical network card. So what does it connects to? It connects to a component of suppose this is a virtual standard switch. Now you guys, majority of you are familiar with switches and routers, right? Or maybe all of you are familiar with switches and routers. So there is a VSS, or virtual standard switch, that gets created. So VSS is equals virtual standard switch. Its central bigger version is distributed switch, right? Virtual standard switch, right? So that VSS gets created by default as well, and it is always virtual standard switch 0. So you will see a virtual standard switch 0 here, and then whichever hypervisor you install, one switch has to be there. Obviously that makes sense. How would virtual machines connect to each other and share data with each other if they don't have a switch, network switch there, right? So that's why so virtual standard switch gets created here. So virtual machines cannot directly connect to a physical network card. They connect to a virtual standard switch. And to go a bit further in this, they don't actually directly see even a virtual standard switch. They see a component of virtual standard switch which is called port group. What is that? Port group. Oh, so there's a component called port group inside a virtual standard switch to which the virtual machine connects. So this virtual machine's connection would look like this. Obviously there would be a virtual network card here in the virtual machine, so there will be a virtual network card here, right, like this. And virtual machine will be actually connecting, but it will only see a port group which is part of a virtual standard switch, and that virtual standard switch actually is connected directly to a physical network card. So that's how the virtual machine gets to connect to other virtual machines in the hypervisor or VMware environment and to the outside world and to the internet through this kind of communication. So this channel says, please Amir, how can I reset my admin password on server 2? Oh, reset a password on admin password. Okay, you need to, this channel, you need to remember that password, and resetting services and cracking services are, you know, that takes a long time. But are you talking about the local administrator password? I think you're talking about local, because if it is administrator password, like the domain administrator password, then you can just change that from the account, from domain admin password. Oh man, don't tell me you forgot the domain admin password. Okay. So, oh, okay. Can you tell me the name of there's a solution for that. Can you tell me the name of your domain admin password? Oh, domain admin username. What is the exact name of your username? Give me a username, test channel, for your domain administrator. What is the name of your domain administrator? Test channel admin. Okay, good. So this channel, we already have also an administrator account in our domain controller, right? There's an administrator account there as well. So if you forgot the password of desk channel admin, so on server 1, go ahead and log in from only administrator, only on server 1, right? And then, yes, on server 1, and then open Active Directory within computers. Have you ever used Active Directory within computers before? Open ADUC or Active Directory within computers. And then go to users container, users, and look for your username and right click and change the password of your domain admin that you created, right? So that's the whole steps, but obviously if you have worked on Active Directory, then it will be easier for you. Otherwise, after the class or something else, then you won't be connected. Alright guys, so well, no reply here. So okay, as we were talking about this, so there is this is a way we can communicate. Hopefully everyone's understanding that the virtual machine has a virtual NIC here, or I would say VNIC, right? That's the virtual NIC, VNIC, and that VNIC would have it will be connected to the port group component inside a virtual standard switch, and that virtual standard switch is connected to the physical NIC, right? So that's how. So the two statements that I would want to give is that virtual machine does not. Let me just give the two statements here. So, and this would come in your midterm as well. So it as a true or false. So just and I'll put the diagram in OneNote as well. So virtual machines do not directly connect to a physical disk. It connects to a data store. Data store created on top of a physical disk. If data store is not there, forget it. So physical disk. So that's the first one. And second one is virtual machine does not connect directly to a physical NIC, right? Physical NIC, as well as a virtual switch. I mean, like, it does connect, but virtual switch, it does not see that directly. It connects to a port group inside our virtual switch. So we're gonna do that lab of virtual switch. We're gonna do a separate lab on that. So but these are some of the rules of thumb that we need to understand that by default what happens. So I'm just gonna put that here as well as in our OneNote. Right. Okay. So let me just go back. So that's what we were talking about, and okay. So there are some comments there. Ramajo says for the lab we logged into administrator or server 2. On server 2. No, Ramanjot, we logged in from domain admin, which is your first name admin. I just was saying that to desk channel, he was not able to log in from that. Okay, and Ziang says when we will have midterm. Midterm exams would be 7th or 8th week. We will have. Okay, and what else? Can the VMs share a data store? Share a data store or one for each? Oh yeah, VMs can share data store. So it would appear like this, that you have like maybe 5 virtual machines or 10 virtual machines here, and all virtual machines are going to be sharing the same data store. The only thing that we need to understand, so if this is a virtual machine, right, so the virtual machines will have their virtual disks and other files of the virtual machine all on the one data store. So obviously you will not be using the local physical disk data store. So in a professional environment, you will not actually be seeing this. This is a local disk on top of which there is a data store, and all the virtual machines are connected on that data store, right? But this is not a professional way to do it. Professional way to do it, that you should have a SAN deployed there. Any of that environments that we have for virtualization, like Hyper-V or VMware, we normally have SAN there. What is SAN? I think we talked about that. Storage area network. In fact, today we will create that, our small software SAN. And all the disks, shared disks from there, are supposed to be connected over the network to these hypervisors here, right? So those shared disks or LUNs or logical unit numbers, on top of that we create virtual machines, virtual disks, right? So that would be the professional way to do it, and this is just very small companies who cannot afford SAN can go for local disk based data stores as well, where they can create virtual machines. Now if this physical server goes down and your virtual machines, virtual disks were created on data store on local physical disk, so when the server goes down, you will not have any communication. Suppose your virtual disks were actually connected to this physical disks here, LUNs coming from storage area network. So in that case, obviously if the server goes down, your virtual disk and all the critical data inside the virtual disk will be available on the storage network. So even if the physical server goes down, your data will be safe, right? Okay, So Manur says, can we say that the data store has the physical disk mapping? Yes, we can say that exactly. So data store has the physical mapping there. And oh, there were so many pictures coming there. Oh, thanks guys for helping out. Way to go. I salute you. Okay, so yes, a data store has to be mapped to a physical disk or a shared disk over the network. There will be disks coming from over the network, which are all called shared disks, right? So those shared disks are also called LUNs or logical unit numbers, and those shared disks are available over the network. So we're going to be creating those there. So guys, this is our situation right now. If I go back to my environment here or the lab, so here I was putting my root username like these and the password small abc, capital abc, shift 123 without shift 123 and press enter, right? So then I was able to log in there. So you can see that in storage, you see data store 1, right? So remember that this means the physical disk has been formatted with VMFS file system, VMware file system, VMFS, and partitioned with a data store, and the data store is created on that disk. So that's good. So the virtual machine can be created on top of a data store. And also if I go in the networking here, so in the networking, there is a virtual switch here. So if you click the networking and then you go to the second tab here, virtual switches, right? Networking and virtual switches. So in the virtual switches, you will see just one, which is V switch 0. So it starts with 0. So that's the first switch here. And on the left side, you will see port groups here. So the purpose of a port group is to connect virtual machines. The purpose of a port group is to connect virtual machine, right? Okay, so Raman is saying that in the chat we have to log into username admin account. What next? So you have to open the browser, Raman, and Internet Explorer, and then type here this your machine name. So obviously you will put your machine name, not mine, but I'm just putting it in WhatsApp. Just open, oh seriously, it didn't go there. So that's something else. I'll just put http:// and your first name, your name, Esxi1 or 01. Oh, you put that. Alright guys, so this much we wanted to understand that there's a networking area of the hypervisor has a port group. What is a port group? Just like a physical switch has 8 ports or 16 ports or 24 ports there. Hey, do I have a diagram for a switch? Physical switch. I'm sure everyone has seen a physical switch there. Nice. Oh, no physical switch. So just like physical switches have ports, we have port groups here. So if we go for Cisco switch and go for, yeah, I was looking for Cisco switch and images. So that's the Cisco switch here, and this would be a port, all the ports there, right? So that would be like 32 port switch or 64. So each port, one cable connects to one computer, second computer, third computer, fourth computer, fifth computer, sixth, and so on. So what happens is the port group in, so let me just put that here. So for future, I'll just get that. So what happens in this? So what does port group do? Port group allows you to connect virtual machines. How many virtual machines? Port group allows you to connect 128 virtual machines. So Seb says is like a VLAN, right? Okay, I think that was yeah. So like a VLAN, we can actually create that. We can do VLANing in port groups as well. So when we go to the topic of virtual switch, then we're going to talk about VLAN as well. But yes, it supports that. Maximum 128, exactly. Yes, yeah. And Raman admin is the account. Yep. Okay, so yeah, it's very tricky to follow each step by step of the lab, but guys, if we follow step by step and do the lab correctly, obviously, then we will understand how to configure that in production environments as well, in actual environments. So that's why we're going step by step and trying to understand everything. Okay, so here now we understand that okay, there's a in hypervisor there's a virtual machine component, there's a storage, and then there is networking. Three major components of a hypervisor. So suppose this is one hypervisor, right? Or okay, we have two hypervisors. But what about if you have 200 hypervisors? What about if you have 2000 of these hypervisors? And each hypervisor may have, this is just one virtual machine, right? Each hypervisor in a big company may have 15 virtual machines or 20 virtual machines according to the RAM, according to the CPU you have, and then according to whatever the virtual machine requirements are, whatever applications are installed on the virtual machine. 15 to 20 virtual machines on one hypervisor, and maybe you have 200 hypervisors. So that's a big company, right? So, or 2000 hypervisors, even bigger. So in that case, how do you manage all those hypervisors? Suppose you have 4 hypervisors in a company, and the boss says, okay, can you try to create virtual machine on every hypervisor? So you connect to the first hypervisor here, this one Esxi1, then you connect to the second hypervisor, create a virtual machine, then you connect to the third hypervisor, create a machine, then you connect to the fourth hypervisor and create a machine, right? Suppose the boss said that. So, so what happens is that how about we install a central software called vCenter, from which we can configure the whole set of hypervisors, right? So that vCenter we need to install. And so Harpreet says, why am I getting this? Harpreet, you're on Esxi1, so this is the DCUI screen. You need to go to server 2 there, which is a Windows server. This is a Linux, oh, not Linux, well, VMware server hypervisor you're on, so it's okay. This is called DCUI, Direct Console Interface. I'm talking on WhatsApp. So, okay. Now, what we need to do first is, guys, we need to attach 8 more network cards, total of 9 network cards to Esxi1, and we need to attach 8 more network cards to Esxi2, making a total of 9 network cards here. I'm going to show you how to do that, but let me just quickly type that step as well. Let's, in fact, this is typed already. Let's add 8 more NICs to both Esxi1 and Esxi2, making them total of 9 NICs, right? So why we want to add so many network cards? In future, we will need them to be connected to some advanced features of VMware. So when you add a network card, you have to restart the hypervisor. It does not directly detect that. So that's why we're going to add 8 network cards now throughout the course. Then we don't have to add any extra network cards and restart the machine, right? So that's how it is. Okay, so Omo, you have to put root there, not edis admin. Don't put edis admin. You put root and the class password, right? In WhatsApp, I'm saying. Okay, so don't put that, put root as a username. Okay guys, so let's go for 8 more NICs. Now, whether you're logged in or not, you can just add the 8 more NICs. Suppose the hypervisor is actually shut down, still you can add 8 more NICs. Hypervisor is up, you can add, but you have to restart the hypervisor. Esxi2, it is already, actually, in my case, it is suspended right now. So let me check if it will let me add it, or do I have to power on. So whenever you add network cards to a powered on hypervisor in a virtual environment, then you have to restart that. Suppose you're actually working in a job environment or production environment, so there you have to obviously shut down the hypervisor and open the physical server and then insert the network cards there, extra network cards. and then close the server and then power on that. So here we will just need to restart, but right now I'm going to ESXi1 and right click here. We need to add 8 more network interface cards. So I'm going to right click here and go to settings, and I can see that I have only one network card here. I'm going to add 8 more to make it 9, and we need to connect it all to VMnet 15. So from those network cards we should also be able to communicate with the whole network, right? So why are we adding the 8 more network cards? To attach them to the advanced features of VMware in future, and according to the vendor best practices. Vendor says that, hey, if you're introducing an advanced feature like vMotion or vSAN or fault tolerance, those features are advanced features. We're going to do labs on them, so we can separately dedicate network cards for those advanced features, right? So for that, we're going to add them once now, and then restart the hypervisor. So I'm going to now I'm on the ESXi1 now. I'm going to click the add button here. So go ahead and click the add button, and then select network adapter. Select network adapter and click finito, right? So now it says that NAT. If your one network card is on NAT and the other network card is on VMnet 15, they cannot communicate with each other, right? We want all the new network cards to communicate with each other. So what do? I'm going to change that NAT to VMnet 15 as well, so they can communicate with each other, right? So this NAT is there. I'm going to go to the custom, and then I'm going to drop down so you can see VMnet 15 here, right? So that's the second network card. And I'm just going to go for now 7 more. So add network adapter, finish, custom, VMnet 15. So just keep doing that till 10 o'clock. Thank you. Add network adapter, finish, custom, VMnet 15, and network adapter, finish, custom, VMnet 14? No, 15. So I have what? 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, 4 more. So I need 4 more. So I'm just gonna go for add network adapter, finish, custom, VMnet 15. Add network adapter, finish, custom, VMnet 15. Hopefully everyone's doing that. Yes. Okay, thank you for that reply. Network adapter, finish, custom, VMnet 15. Oops. Oh yeah, that's 15. Oh, how many? So, 1 more. Okay, network adapter, finish, custom, VMnet 15. Alright, so we're good. And it's total 9 here in ESXi1. Yay! Okay, there's a question here. Deshaun says, please Amir, don't understand very well topology. Can you refresh some explanation, please? Don't understand the topology? Okay. What are we doing this means overall? Okay. I think you were stuck in that error, so you missed all the explanation, I guess. So we are here on server 1 and server 2 here. We have 4 machines here, and the two hypervisors here. And what we're doing right now is, first of all, we check that can we connect from server 2 to server to hypervisor 1. So we can connect because we did that in last class as well. But there is that in each hypervisor now we're adding 8 network cards extra. And why are we adding 8 network cards extra? Because we need to attach these network cards to advanced features. 8 extra NICs to each hypervisor. Why are we attaching that? Hypervisor. Okay. Hypervisor. So we could add these to new features of VMware. So when you are on that lab, then you're gonna see that how to use these network cards. But right now, I'm just saying that go ahead and add the 8 extra network cards to each hypervisor, right? So yeah, topology is 4 machines, and 2 are hypervisor, 2 are Windows machine, and from second machine we tried to connect to the hypervisor E6i1, and then now we're adding 8 network cards to E6i1. Now I'm about to add 8 network cards to E6i2. Why? I told you just now why. We're going to use in future these network cards with advanced features, right? Any questions? Let me know. Hopefully everyone's paying attention. So when we repeat, so we're just we're taking the time of the next steps. But yes, if you were listening and you couldn't understand, then okay. But hopefully we're paying attention. There are so many distractions at home as well. I understand that. So do ask me a question if there are any. So I'm just gonna press OK here. 9 network cards total are added to E6i1. I'm just gonna press OK. Okay, so this one says port group. Yeah, so what is port group? Port group is used to connect all the virtual machines. If port group is not there, we cannot connect virtual machines to the virtual switch. So this port group component is part of the virtual standard switch here. Port group component is part of the virtual standard switch. What is a virtual standard switch? It is a virtual switch that was installed automatically when you install the hypervisor. So you can connect 128 virtual machines to a port group, right? So the port group, the only purpose of port group is to connect virtual machines to the network, to each other, and to the internet. And you can add 128 virtual machines. But we're gonna go in depth with port groups there later when we go for the virtual standard switch lab. Okay. All right. So let us go ahead. Oh, welcome. Wow. Thanks, big teacher. Okay, that's a new way to say thanks. Thank you. You're welcome. Big teacher. Hey, I'm not big. I'm just 20. I'm just 19 years old. Come on. I'm young. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and try to. EXI2 needs startup to add NICs. Well, even if it is shut down, we can still add the network cards. So it's okay, you can add it. But if they don't get detected, we just have to restart it. So even if it is in shutdown state, we can add network cards. In fact, I'm just going to do that now. I have already added the network cards on E6i1, but I didn't restart it, right? So how to restart? There's in VMware Workstation training environment, we can restart it this way. Right click, power, and restart guest, right? This is one way to restart hypervisor. The other way is you can see here as well, F12. If you connect F12, and then you can shut down and restart this hypervisor. So now production environment, what you will do is you can click on top of that, and then FN and F12. If I just press F12 here, first of all this pops up, and then if I down arrow, I'll put the password, right, and enter. So all it says that, hey, you want to shut down or you want to restart. So either you right click here and power. Normally I do this in a training environment, I just go power and restart guest. Go ahead and do that. Otherwise, second way is this, just to know that okay, this is another way to do that restart as well. So FN F11, it says here F11 is restart, right? If there were virtual machines, it says forcefully terminate running VMs. We don't have any running VMs, so we don't have to select this option. We can just select this F11, right? So F12 F11 restarts the hypervisor. Now I'm just going to go to EXI2, which is suspended, right? So it's not actually shut down, it's suspended. Suspension means that its services are frozen. So if I right click on EXI2 and go to settings while it is in suspended state, right? So you can see that it's not letting me add the network card. So this means that I have to resume this virtual machine when it is fully powered on. I can add the network cards at that time, or if it was shut down, then I could have added the but in suspended state it does not let us do that. So I'm just going to cancel out. Obviously there's no other choice but to resume this virtual machine. It will go back to the started or powered on position. Server 2 restarted. Esxi2, Xiang. So we're not gonna add 8 network cards to server 2. This is a Windows machine, right? If I go there, this is a Windows machine. We're adding network cards only to Esxi1, and we're adding network cards only to Esxi2. This one, right? So Esxi1, Esxi2, right? So I'm just going to right click here. I'm going to do the same thing now. So right click Esxi2 and settings, right? So I have only one network card here and it's the same story now. Just go ahead and add 8 more and just restart. Overall, that's what we need to do, right? I'll just go to click the add button, go to network adapter and finish, and yeah, the whole drill. So we just have to do it once throughout the course. If we don't do that now, suppose I ask you, hey, let's add 2 more network cards, and then we restart again. And in next class, okay, we need to add 2 more network cards, and then restart again. So obviously it becomes then a really strange thing. Minute 15, and so Xiang says no need to restart for adding NIC on Esxi. We have to restart. We have to restart after adding all the NICs. Just one restart after adding all extra new 8 NICs, 8 network cards. When you add, just do one restart. We need to do a restart. So I'm just going to go ahead and add quickly the network adapter on the second one as well, right? Okay, adding custom Vimnet 15, add network adapter, finish, custom Vimnet 15, add network adapter, finish, custom Vimnet 15. Okay, 3 here, 6, 7. Okay, 2 more. Add network adapter, finish, custom Vimnet 15, add network adapter, finish, custom Vimnet 15. Okay. So I'm going to restart. I've added the 9 network cards and connected them to VMware 15 as well, so they could communicate with each other. So I'm going to press OK here, and then I'm going to restart the Esxi2 as well. Restart is necessary. We must restart after adding all the network cards. So I'm just going to press OK here, and then once it is added, I'm just going to right click on top of that to restart it. I'm just about to restart Esxi2. Esxi1 is already restarted, and I'm going to go to Esxi2 and restart here. So the first screenshot would be if we can see the 9 network adapters on both first and second screenshot, right? So all it says in real life that I have to open up server to add physical cards, meaning I will need to configure those cards with the VLAN. If the VLAN is configured, yes, you have to configure it. You have to connect it to those ports in which you want the in which you have configured the VLAN. Yes, you have to make sure then, according to the switches, which ports are connected to which VLAN. So, okay. So here, once the 8 network cards, extra network cards have been added, making it total 9, so first and second screenshots would be that if we have detected the total 9 network cards on Esxi1, I'm going to show you where, and detected total 9 network cards in Esxi2. So I'm going to go to server 2 where I'm remotely connected to Esxi1. So right now, since it is restarted, so obviously I need to reconnect again from server 2 to Esxi1. Why I want to reconnect? I want to check if all 9 network cards are showing or not. And then I need to connect remotely to Esxi2 as well when it is fully started. just to check if all 9 network cards are showing there as well, right? So I'm gonna go to server 2 where I was connected before, right? So I'm just gonna go down here to the browser. If I refresh, I think it restarted, so it's gonna kick me out. Yep, I am successfully kicked out. So root and small ABC equal to shape 1, 2, 3 without shape 1, 2, 3. Yay! So I'm connected from Windows Server 2 to the Esxi1 hypervisor remotely, and I just need to go there where it shows me all the physical network cards. So the first screenshot would be the 9 network cards showing there. So where do I go? Well, not in virtual machines in Esxi1, not in storage in Esxi1. It will be inside the networking in Esxi1. So in networking, there's port groups, there's virtual switches, and physical NICs. This is the physical NICs here, so I'm just going to click the physical NICs. So these are the network cards that are detected. It's okay if it's not showing till down. Actually, it is showing if you go down. So from VMNIC 0 to VMNIC 8. VMNIC means physical network card. Well, ours is still virtual, but it detects it as physical network card. So VMNIC 0 up to VMNIC 8, right? So VMNIC 0 to VMNIC 8, if that is detected, then this is a screenshot number 1. So obviously your name should be showing there in screenshot number 1, and those who will be following the video later, and you need to still give a proof of the error and email me that, hey, this day's screenshot I was not able to upload because of this reason, and here's a screenshot. Because I need to obviously mark.
Amir?
Yeah.
Sorry, well, I do have only 8 cards. Why you do have 9? You said I'd not 8, so you do have 9.
Oh yeah, so
It's fine?
yeah, so this means you added normally 8 new 7 network cards you added, right? I added new 8 network cards because 1 network card was already there.
Okay. Yeah. It's fine. Or should I go at one more?
Yeah, add one more because we're gonna need that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so here it's 8, and this is screenshot number 1. So I'm just gonna go for I can't log in, as almost as in WhatsApp. I can't log in, says my login is wrong. Can you share a screenshot? Is it the same screenshot that you shared up there? Type. Oh, Omo, I told you at that time, maybe you were not listening. So type root. Oh, okay. As the username. Not, you have added the Windows username there in VMware machine Windows, right? Root, and then the password. If it says a class password, the class password is small ABC shape 1, 2, 3 without shape 1, 2, 3. This is a class password in WhatsApp. Well, you have to remember whatever password you gave there. Okay. The thing is that you have to remember the password, but the username is root, and put the password there as. So guys, this is the first screenshot. I'm just going to take that screenshot now as a sample screenshot to show you. Obviously, your name should be showing there in the screenshot, not my name. Obviously, I won't be able to mark anything if it's my name there. So this is the screenshot, and the title of the screenshot would be, so this is screenshot 1, and the title is 8 new NICs added to Esxi01, right? 8 new NICs added to Esxi01. So, and I'll just put the screenshot here, the sample one that has actually my name. Do not use my named screenshot, and I can't mark use your named screenshot. So that's the same thing I'm going to type there in WhatsApp. I think everyone has access to OneNote, right? So screenshot 1 equals 8 new nicks added to Esxi01, and then the screenshot, sample screenshot here. So in WhatsApp you can have an idea as well. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go for the second. I need to connect to my second hypervisor from server 2, Windows Server 2. I'm gonna connect to my Esxi2, right? So how can I do that? I'm just gonna open another tab here in the browser inside Windows Server 2016, right? So new tab here, and I'm simply gonna type the address URL of Esxi2. So http:// and then it would be your first name Esxi2. Think I did not put 02, so I'm just gonna go to DCUI to check that. Oh, annotation from Waffle Rodriguez. Okay, decline. I think it's by mistake. So I'm gonna check my Esxi2, and it says your first name Esxi2. Yep. So your first name is Esxi2. Chang says I have only one physical nick. On which one, Chang? 01 or Esxi01? So I think you've added all the physical nicks on wrong server. I think you added it on server 2. You need to add it on Esxi01, right? So right click on Esxi01 and then add it there. Do not add it on server 2. There's a Windows Server 2. That's where we don't need to add. We need to add it on Hypervisor Esxi1 and Hypervisor Esxi2. Okay, I'm gonna click the continue to this website. So I was connected already to Esxi1, and I can see total 9 network cards. So the counting starts from 0, so that's why it's showing 8. Otherwise these are total 9 network cards. And I'm now connected to, okay, I will now be connected to Esxi2 because I need a screenshot for the total 9 network cards there as well. So now let me see, got to see 1, 2, 3, gotcha, 1, 2, 3. So where should I find the network cards? It would be not in virtual machines, not in storage. It will be inside networking. Physical next. Yes, I see from 0 up to 8, total 9 network cards. So I'm just going to take a screenshot of this one as well. Sample screenshot for you. And quickly then we go ahead and so screenshot 2 equals 8 new nicks added to Esxi02 as well, and the screenshot, right? So the title is this. So almost is what do I click here? Open the browser, IE, the blue E button there. So screenshot 2 added 8 new nicks in Esxi02, and there's a sample screenshot on WhatsApp as well. So once you click E Homo and then just type http:// your first name Esxi01 or the IP address of that machine. Alright guys, so the 2 screenshots are done. Yes. Okay, thank you for that reply. And now, well, the next steps I need to explain. The page can't be displayed. This page can't be displayed. Okay, Zhang says that. Jiang, you can try with, you check your spellings there for Esxi2. Go to Esxi2 directly like this. On the DCUI, you can check what is the name there. And check exact spellings. If by name it is not connecting, then connect by IP. Check the IP 192.168.200.4. Connect by that. Right? So, okay. So guys, let me explain that what is the next step, because that's gonna be heavy, and I need to then explain that. So now we have the two hypervisors, we have the two physical two Windows servers there, and then yeah. So here, what we need to do is we need to start the installation of VMware, vSphere, vCenter. So everything is V Samosa, V Pakora. Okay, so VMware, vSphere, vCenter. Too many V's, right? So this is the enterprise grade application that will control the whole VMware environment. This vCenter, okay, centrally controls all VMware hypervisors, right? Virtual machines, storage, networking, encrypt security, inventory. So you name it, it does it, right? As far as the administration and deployment, troubleshooting, maintenance, monitoring of the whole VMware environment is concerned, it all is done by this one big, huge application called vCenter, right? So we're about to deploy that because in the job market, many of my students who have done cloud courses, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, they also did VMware as well, and so many questions from VMware were asked as well. Many environments have still VMware available there, right? Okay, so this vCenter that simply centrally controls the whole VMware environment is what we need to also install now. And in order to do that, we have to install it obviously on server 2. Now, keeping in mind that majority of us, or maybe all of us, have 16 GB RAM here, right? Total RAM we have is 16 GB. So we need a lot of CPU and RAM to install this big application on the server 2, right? So I'm gonna just create another diagram here. Okay, let me just copy this diagram first to OneNote so you can see that for your midterm exam. If I ask a question from a diagram, so you would have this diagram. You know, during college students last year, I was telling them that, hey, questions will come from diagram. So they said that, some of them said that, hey, we had no idea about those lines you created. I was shocked. So then I realized that, okay, these colleges kids those are just, they don't take anything seriously, right? So these lines are for those who really need a job to earn some money for the family. They would understand what lines are these. Those were just teens. So I said, oh, okay, yeah, I was expecting that from you. So they were not taking anything seriously. Well, they will once they hit the job market. Good luck. Okay, anyway, lines. I was so shocked. Okay, anyway, so what we need to do here is I'm just going to create another diagram here, and two very critical things we're about to do now. And those mucho critical. Okay, that's no, muy critical, right? So that's very critical, right? In wrong Spanish, I think, right Spanish. So what am I doing? Yeah, I need to grab that diagram. So first thing is vCenter. Second thing is we need to also install software SAN. So the exact diagram I was looking for, I got it. So this is what we need to do, and both things are really important. So first of all, this application vCenter, so the whole exam revolves around that. How do we install that? In order to install that, we need all the resources we can grab. How much RAM we can grab, how much CPU we can grab, we will do that. So what's the plan? So what's the plan, Prof? So the plan is that we're going to shut down Esxi2. We do not need the two hypervisors during the installation of the vCenter for Windows. We do not need the two hypervisors. So temporarily we're going to shut down Esxi1 and Esxi2. Okay, why are we shutting that down? Because we need to grab as much RAM as possible on this server 2 where we're about to install this big application called vCenter. Okay, so Tony says, how can I change root password on Esxi2? Ouch. Okay, Tunde, so that's, I can just send you the article, and that's a long one. It's not that easy to change the root password. It's like the main key there, right? Or our car keys are inside the car and we're outside, locked out. 8 GB is enough for server 2, says, well, if you have 16 GB, go for 12 GB RAM. 8 GB would be slower, 12 GB would be a bit faster because we're shutting down Esxi1 and Esxi2. So Tunde, I think you have to, realistically speaking, you have to reinstall Esxi2 again and join it to domain and configure the whole thing. But how to change the root password on Esxi hypervisor on Esxi? Okay, 6.7, I should have said that. 6.7. Okay. Forgot the Esxi root password. No problems. Yeah, right. Okay. And how to reset the Esxi. So there are two articles here, and they actually show you. So you have to just what they are showing is that if you you know, the guy can log in and then change the password. Seriously. So how, I'm just gonna put it on WhatsApp. How to change the root password of Esxi. So that is one, but that's a long one. Better just reinstall if we have forgotten that. Normally this is our responsibility, that we should always remember that. If we forget that, that's a big one. So in production environment, that is a no-go area. So that's the second article there. So better reinstall, but it's a good, at your free time you can try to follow these articles. In fact, I would suggest everyone to follow these articles in your free time, as that would be a very good practice for you to how to reset a last password, root password here. Alright guys, so let's get back to our vCenter planning, because that's going to take a long time and we really need to go ahead with our labs as well. Troubleshooting will keep on coming. Obviously we're doing it for the first time, so that's why I gave you that relaxation of concession of that just prove that why you were not able to go ahead with the lab and were not able to upload the screenshots today, and then follow the video. Just take a screenshot of where you're stuck and give a reason. That's it. Email me and just follow the video before the next week. Catch up with us. Okay guys, so I'm just gonna go back to the diagram. So if we plan good, we will be able to pull this off, just like in all other courses. We've been doing that. I've been doing that. So on server 2, out of 16 GB, we can give 12 GB RAM here, right? Why we're giving 12 GB? So 2 GB is here. This machine we need all the time. It's providing us authentication, authorization, and also name resolution, right? Very critical services, right? So 12 GB here, 2 GB here, 14 GB, and 2 GB for just to let the host on top of which we are creating those machines, the laptop and the Windows 10 to breathe. We are giving it 2 GB as well. Although you can overcome it as well. Suppose you give here 14 GB and 2 GB, so it's 16 GB, while you have actually 16 GB. Sometimes it also works. Okay guys, so this is the plan. Why are we giving it 12 GB again? vCenter application is big, right? So vCenter really need a lot of RAM. It takes 45 minutes up to 1 hour to install this software. During this time we will do another lab as well, but we need to understand the prerequisites of a big enterprise grade application like vCenter. So what are the prerequisites, right? Prereqs of deploying vCenter. So the first thing is, which type of vCenter are you deploying? Are you deploying Linux-based vCenter or a Windows-based? So this is a Windows-based, so you must have a properly configured Windows machine joined to the domain, or not joined to the domain. Both works. But that's the first thing, prerequisites for deploying vCenter. Second thing is that it requires 140 GB of space minimum. We have 12 GB of space. Sorry, 200 GB space here. So we're good. But so we will add a second disk and give it 300 GB now. We're gonna add one more disk here, and we're gonna to install what? To install vCenter. This is the best practice, that you install the application always on the other drive, not the C drive or not the system's partition drive, right? So to install vCenter on this second disk, right? So in terms of RAM, minimum 10 GB RAM is required, right? Is required. So minimum 10 GB RAM is required. We will be giving 12 GB RAM here, right, for installation. And minimum 2 processors are required. And I think we already gave 2 processors here, but we're going to double check that. So do we have this much space? Well, we're going to add a second disk now in server 2, right? And we're going to give it 300 GB and format it, right? Second thing is, we're going to add 12 GB RAM. So temporarily we need to shut down server 2, increase its RAM to 10 GB, add a second disk 300 GB as well, and check that if the processor is 2 or 1, right? So all these things we're about to check now in server 2. So, but before that, did we shut down Esxi1 and Esxi2? So I'm going to shut down Esxi2, then I'm going to shut down Esxi1. I'm going to temporarily shut down server 02 as well, Windows Server 02 as well. Why? Because I need to make these changes. Check, so add a second disk, 300 GB, and increase the RAM to 12 GB, and check if we have 2 processors. So these 3 things I need to check on server 2, and then I'm going to start that server 2 again. But I'm not going to start Esxi1, Esxi2. I'm going to keep it shut down until the vCenter is fully installed in server 2, right? Hopefully we're understanding. If you understand, we're going to be good in interviews as well. If you don't understand, then it's kind of a total waste of time. So, okay.
So, Amir, I have one question, sorry. So when one device, when one machine need 8 giga, how you change it later? Because I don't know. So for this, it need 8 giga to install that software. Later on, how you change it? I not understand this.
Yeah, so for server 2, it requires 10 GB RAM, right? So the best way to change the RAM is just shut down server 2 and then change it back, right? So if we are giving 12 GB here now, after shutting down, we're going to change it to 12 GB. Once the full software is installed, then we're going to shut down the server again and then change it back to 8 GB back, right? So whenever we want to change, just shut down the server and change the RAM and start. So yeah, that's
okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So here, let's do that. So let's start shutting down Esxi1, 2, and server 2 as well. We will never, ever, ever shut down server 1. Do not shut down server 1 ever, right? So this is our this is our oxygen for this environment. So this isn't offering the critical services that we really need to do anything. So okay, I'm gonna go back here since hopefully we understand what's going on here now. So I'm gonna go to Esxi2 here and right click and go to power, and this time I'm gonna shut down guest. We could do it by going for F12 and then F12 again to shut down, or we're gonna go for shutdown like this. So we shut down, yay, or yay. Okay, and power and shut down. If anyone has watched horror movies, then you know there's that vampire says blah 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 blah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Amir, can I have a question? Sorry. I'm just comparing that with the like the system we usually see. So we can say that server one, which is Active Directory DNS DHCP, is a DMZ, right? It's located in DMZ.
DMZ?
Sorry, backend. Sorry. I'm still recovering from yesterday. No, I mean it's not the DMZ. I mean the backend, our core system. When we have more secured, because this is the Active Directory and all these stuff. And then server two is one that's kinda centralized, right? The virtual machines. But where is the virtual machines? Is it gonna be an Esxi?
Virtual machines, yes. So let me just show you the diagram here that I created here. So yes, the server 1 is just offering us the infrastructure services of Active Directory, DNS, DHCP.
Yeah, so this must be in the back end, but it must have two firewalls to protect it.
Yes.
And then
yeah,
and then where is the virtual machines?
Exactly. So virtual machines will be inside the hypervisors like this. So we're going to be later creating virtual machines inside there, and these virtual machines will be living inside these hypervisors. So that's why these physical servers in production environment have to have a lot of RAM, a lot of CPU, and a lot of hard disk space. So all virtual machines will be living here, and they will be joined. If they want to join to domain, they will be joined to domain with this Active Directory because of the correct networking going on from virtual machine to the hypervisor network card to outside physical switch, and then reaching this Active Directory DNS.
So can we say the vCenter is the Hyper-V that manages the virtual machines?
Oh, Hyper-V or Hypervisor? Well, first of all, Hyper-V when you say, right? This is Windows.
Yeah, the Microsoft Hyper-V.
Yeah, so Microsoft
is the one that's controlling those?
VMware is having. So what is Hyper-V? Hyper-V is the alternative in Microsoft, which is Esxi in VMware. So we cannot say it's a Hyper-V. Hyper-V is a hypervisor, right? This vCenter is a central application that will control everything, every aspect of hypervisor and the virtual machines. Something happens to virtual machine, something happens to hypervisor, something is needed, is being provided by the vCenter central big application. When you say Hyper-V, Hyper-V is just a hypervisor of Microsoft, just like Esxi is a hypervisor for VMware. So Hyper-V and Esxi have a comparison. Hyper-V has no comparison with vCenter. But if you want to compare Hyper-V or the central application of vCenter with Microsoft, so VMware has a big central application called vCenter. Microsoft has a big central application called Esxi VMM. You can compare vCenter with Microsoft System Center Virtual Machine Manager Esxi VMM. So that's a comparison between the two vendors' big software, central software.
So just to communicate in my mind, so we can say that the ESX2 is a server, physical service located in the data center, and then either you're gonna make it boot from the hardware, or you have a SAN and then you're gonna store the data there, and then you need to make a central management system, which is the one we are installing in server 2, right?
You got it, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, All20 says if we turn off Hyper-V in BIOS of our laptop, will VMware Workstation work? Okay, Hyper-V in our laptop. So yeah, you know, guys, we're confusing Hyper-V with a lot of things now. So it's a virtualization VTX technology. Hyper-V is not inside our laptop's BIOS. In BIOS, we have a feature called virtualization, which is same for Microsoft Hyper-V and which is same for VMware Esxi. So there is no Hyper-V inside our BIOS. It is just a virtualization software, and Hyper-V is just a product of Microsoft, which is equal to Esxi in VMware, right? So in our laptop's BIOS, we have, if we turn off virtualization feature, yes, we will not be able to turn on our VMware machines. So that feature is called Intel VT or AMD something, but it's virtualization feature. It's not Hyper-V feature in BIOS. Okay, so Okay, so guys, hopefully we understand what's going on, and every question is welcome, and please do ask questions. But well, we do have to go ahead with the labs as well. But every question is welcome if it's related to this topics. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to. So I've shut down Esxi 2, Esxi. Oh, did I say Esxi 2 times? Yeah. It's Esxi 1 and Esxi 2. So I'll just make that, correct that. Let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to shut down all three machines here, server 2, Esxi 1, Esxi 2. But server 2, after making changes, I'm going to start that again, as we planned. So here, I'm back in my lab where Esxi 2 is shut down, check. Esxi 1 is shut down, check. Server 2, what is going on here? Oh, it's not shut down. So I'm going to temporarily shut it down and make those changes to install a big central application called vCenter on top of it. So I'm going to go to shut down or sign out. I'm going to click shut down. Oh, and we're going to click other plant as well. So according to the vCenter prerequisites, there is memory that is 2 GB. Obviously, we need to change it to 12 GB. So I'm just going to make the first change in the server 2 here. I'm going to click the memory here, and then I'll go up to 12 GB. Whatever more RAM we can give, the better, right? Out of the total of 16 GB. If you have a 32 GB RAM laptop, wow. So it's like you have Ferrari or Corvette car. Just so yeah, then you can just give it like what, 24 GB RAM if you have 32 GB RAM. But here 12.4 I'm giving, and I'm gonna click anywhere here to see that it changed. Yeah, it's normally 12.1 showing here, which is okay. 2 processors is a requirement. Yes, it is already here, which is good in server 2. But we're not going to install vCenter in the C drive. It is against the vendor best practices. So we need to add another disk, and we're going to give it whatever size we can give, right? So we're going to give 300 GB to the second disk where we will deploy the vCenter application. That's according to the best practices. So I'm just going to click add, and then click hard disk, right? And click next. So SCSI is okay, no change here. Next. Create a new virtual machine, no change here. Next. Okay, on this
Wait, sorry, Amir, what did you choose for, just go back, sorry. No, that is like basic type.
With all our computers, mine says NVMe is recommended.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have better computers. This means, so if that is there, so first of all, let me just take you there. It's I clicked on edit virtual machine, then I'm coming there. Then I'll talk about that too. First, I went to shut down the machine, and then edit virtual machine. From here, I went down to add button, right? Same with me, mine NVMe recommended. So guys, if you see, I'm gonna click add button, but now there is a hard disk written here, right? So if you see NVMe written there, it's better to shut down that machine. Hopefully you have shut down that machine, server 2, and then you're doing that. So in that case, just add the NVMe there. It should let you add. So I think hopefully you're able to go with this. I'm gonna click hard disk and click next. If you see here NVMe, well, your machine should be shut down first of all. Then you will be able to add NVMe. In my case, I'm seeing SCSI here, so I'm gonna click.
So right now I see NVM recommended. So what should I do?
It's okay. You can.
It's okay.
Keep it selected and click next.
Oh, so should I choose SI or no? Just NVMe?
Well, if it lets you choose SCSI, that is also okay. If you want to choose NVMe, that is a bit faster then that is also okay.
Okay.
So
Okay, thank you.
so I'm gonna click next. Because I'm a poor guy, so I don't have NVMe latest laptops, so I'm gonna go for SCSI here. Ha ha ha. Okay, next. Just kidding. And there, create new virtual disk, right? And next. Okay guys, so size, we know what size we need to give. So it doesn't have to be exactly 300 GB. You can give 400 GB, you can give 500 GB, whatever, but let's keep it consistent configuration. So I'm going to give 300 GB. It's much more than the minimum requirement of 140 GB, right? So it's okay. 300 GB. And single file, we talked about that at the start of the course. As a habit, I just go for single file. Do not click this guy. Do not click this option. This is thick provision, right? So it will take all the 300 GB space on your... if you don't click it, if you keep it unchecked, this is good. Then it's going to be thin provision. Okay. Ramanjot, you're not getting what? Like you don't get this message, or you don't understand what... Okay, repeat from where? Let me know. Like, okay, so I clicked, so I am canceling it. So first, edit virtual machine here, and then you will, since we have just one disk, so I'm just going to add another disk by going down to the bottom and click the add button. Once we click the add button here, so the hard disk is already selected, we just need to add a second hard disk. So I'm going to click next. And then it's just SCSI. Yes, Ramanjut, so hopefully you're following. So just click the added virtual machine, the picture that you shown. Just click the added virtual machine, then click the add button here, this one. Hopefully you're seeing my screen as well. And then click next. Hopefully you're there. And then create a new virtual disk. And next. So then just give 300 GB. So we're adding just another disk. My machine recommended, Jaswinder says recommend NVMe. So go for NVMe. Don't go for SCSI. Jaswinder, it's okay. But do shut down your machine and then do that. Server 2. Okay. So if you have given 300, yes, new virtual disk, exactly. Ramajot. And until you reach here and just type 300, right? And then single file, right? So single file and 300. Once that is done, click next. Next, right? So once we click next, so this is the outside name of the disk. We don't need to change anything here. Just click finish. Go ahead. Okay, let's click finish, and so you can see now there is 300 GB disk added here as well, right? So everyone sees that, and so the first requirement was that change the RAM to 12 GB. Oh, okay, since I cancelled it, so it went back to 2 GB. So 12.4 is this. Okay, 12 GB RAM, and then processor is 2, and then hard disk is 300 GB. So these are, you know, the things that we needed here, right? An extra disk, 2 processors, and at least 12 GB RAM. If that is all achieved, I'm gonna press O and K, right? So I'm gonna press OK. Now guys, take a screenshot here, take a screenshot here, take a screenshot. So vCenter machine configuration. vCenter, title is vCenter machine configuration. Title is vCenter machine configuration. So I'm just going to take a sample screenshot number 3 now, and that is vCenter machine configuration. Give it a title. So I'll put it on OneNote now to give you a sample screenshot. Screenshot 3. Oops. And vCenter machine configuration. All right. or all wrong. Okay, all right. So I'll just put it there as well. Screenshot 3 vCenter machine configuration. Alright, so once we have taken that screenshot, let's get going. Let's power it on. So I'm going to press now. Power on. So, okay, now we're ready to install that big, huge, large, okay, what's the other anonymous? Oh, did I say anonymous? Synonym of that, synonym of. Okay. Big, huge, large, mega. Yeah, mega application. So, big, huge, large, mega, humongous. Hey, I'm coming up with words. Okay, let's go ahead. So, for Linux class, you guys had samosas and something, and so it's minus 20 temperature. Okay, so yeah, once we have this, once we're logged into this, now we're ready to install the vCenter. So we need to be extra careful here. Now, what we need to do is, I'm going to go back to the diagram here, and so yeah, we're going according to the plan. This all is done, and now the server 2 is ready. So what do? We need to map the ISO of the Windows-based vCenter to the DVD, virtual DVD of this virtual machine, right? So where is the ISO? What is the name of the ISO that we need to map, attach to the member server's server 2's virtual machine, right? Virtual machine DVD. So let me show you the name of that file that you should all have already. Oh, there you go. Safe has it all. Yes, safe, you're right. So, I'll just show it now. So that is exactly, so it's VMware VIM all 6.5, just the exact name you see in the WebEx. This is the name that we need to reach. So I'm just gonna go to the file. What we need to do actually is this: right click on the Windows Server 2, right click on the Windows Server 2, then go down to settings, then to the DVD, and then browse and go to that file location. Right click on Server 2 and click settings, and then you click CD DVD, this one, right? We know that we already attached the Windows based ISO, so I'm gonna change that ISO to the vCenter for Windows. New disk doesn't appear on computer. Oh yeah, Roderick, that's a good reminder. We haven't formatted that disk yet, so after we attach this ISO of this vCenter, then we're going to format that. Thank you for that reminder, I forgot that. So let's click that browse button here to attach, first of all, that vCenter. So I'm just gonna click that VMware. Okay, so VMware VIM all 6.5, that's it. VIM is written there and 6.5 is written there. This is your file, right? So I'm going to double click that file now to attach it to the DVD. So it is attached now to the DVD of the server 2.
It's right. This is Nitisham.
Yeah.
So we downloaded the file. This is VM dash all dash 6.5.0. Then the name, then dash vCenter. There is no written ISO.
Which is okay.
This is okay? Okay, thank you.
Cool. Alright guys, so if you have mapped that ISO, it should somewhat look like mine, but doesn't have to be exactly looking like mine, so it's okay. And if it is attached, I'm just gonna press O and K. Now guys, I did forget, and thank you Roderick for reminding me. So we need to format the disk, right? So we can't just add a disk and it will be automatically usable. It can only be usable when we format the newly added disk. So how do we format that? We need to, so if you're already have pressed OK after mapping the ISO vCenter, then you should be on Server Manager here, right? So we need to go to Tools and this guy, Computer Management. Why are we going there? To format that second disk that we added, right? To format that second disk that we added. Oh, okay. It's this channel. Oh, okay. Cool. Thank you. I'm going to go for Tools and I'm going to go for Computer Management. Once we click the Computer Management here, then Disk Management. This is the one that we need to go, right? Disk Management. So Computer Management, Disk Management. So when you add the new disk in a production environment, suppose in an HP physical server, IBM physical server, so in that you just put the drive in the drive bay, then you come back here and you exactly do this, what we are doing now. So once you're in the disk management, yeah.
Sorry, mine is saying you must initialize a disk before logical disk manager can access it.
Yes, which
for
is
disk.
good. We're actually going towards that step, but you already have that step, which is very good. So yeah, you can wait for me because I'm gonna go to that step now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna right click on top of this, and if you see online written there, so obviously you need to click online because it is right now offline for me. For some it is not offline, but for those it is offline. Just go ahead and right click and simply click online, right? Yeah, Mammal says, if I no click, you no click. Exactly, yeah. Okay.
Amir, I don't have authority to format the disk, so I'm an admin.
Oh, again, sorry?
I don't have authority to format the disk, although I am admin.
Oh, did you log in from your first name admin, that is a domain administrator of the domain?
Yeah.
Okay. Then just close that, sign out, sign in again. So right click here, just, sign out and sign in again. And come back here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay guys, here, so I'm just gonna press the online here, and it is not initialized. Then I'm gonna press again here to initialize as well, right? First you make online, then you right click again. Now it's going to what? Initialize. So let's click initialize, right? Now it shows this MBR or GPT. So MBR and GPT are good partitioning table. What is the difference? MBR is that it supports 2 terabyte up to 2 terabyte disks, and it supports just 4 partitions, while GPT can go up to 64 terabyte size disks and can support larger and more number of partitions. So for our specific scenario, anyone you select is okay. It really doesn't matter. It's on MBR already. So initialize is to make the disk, to make the partitions of the disk. Oh, where is initialize? Just right click again on this, Ziang. Just right click again on this, and then click initialize. The disk 1 where I'm moving my mouse. When you right click, you should be seeing initialize. My hand is showing. So you logged in again.
Yes.
You're okay.
It shows
Yeah.
convert to dynamic disk, convert to GPT disk, properties and help.
You're not seeing that?
No, I'm not seeing the initialize.
Initialize? Okay. Oh, well, first let me just show the screen and then I'll talk tell you about that. You don't have access to the logical disk manager, so that's very strange. You know, maybe your domain administrator is not exactly domain administrator. Hopefully it is, but you can log in from also, if you know how to, that if you sign out and you sign in, that go to the other user and type your domain name /administrator. Administrator is the actual original domain administrator account, right? So domain name /administrator in the username area once you sign out and go to other user. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. And then log in from that account and then come back here.
Okay.
Oh. So that is both for Cure and my. Yeah, so that is try local administrator. Local administrator. Yeah, local administrators will also work, but we need them to log into domain administrator because otherwise they won't be be able to install the vCenter then. So that's why I'm saying that do try to log in from domain administrator, the administrator account. So the domain name /administrator. So I'm just gonna press OK here, guys. We don't need to do anything other than just press OK. And then the third one is, so first we right click, we brought it online. Second time we right click, we did initialize. Third time we need to click here. Third time we need to click here on this unallocated space area. Click here on right click here on the unallocated space area, and hopefully we all see new simple volume. So I right click on the unallocated space area and I click new simple volume, right? Oh, okay. Xiang, you have already initialized. That's why you cannot find it. So it's okay. But Xiang, just right click on unallocated area. Xiang, right click on unallocated area like I'm doing right now, right? Right click here like this. So if you see new simple volume, go ahead. But why? So Xiang, you already initialized, that's why you cannot see that. We did not initialize, that's why we were able to see that, but you didn't. You already did that. No, then initialize sometimes automatically is done as well for some lucky ones. Cool. Orang says, yeah, Orang, so why I have another part here? No, that's okay.
So this is okay because I have disk 0, disk 1.
Which is okay, yeah. Because I think I also have it, but if I don't and you have it, it's also okay. So
Okay.
yes, it's the same.
Do have it.
Yeah, so,
Oh, okay.
okay, and NVMe does not need initialization. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Saif, for showing that. Okay, so here, unallocated, I'm just going to right click on top of that and go for new simple volume. New simple volume. Oh, okay, so right click here and click the no simple volume. And then click next. And then click next. And then E drive. Oh, okay. So E drive, and then we click. So let it take the next available drive letter and click next. So here we need to put a volume name here, which is your first name _ app or application. You know, your first name _ app, right? Your first name _ app. So let's click next. And finito. Yay. Okay. So hopefully it is done for everyone now. So we have the second disk ready to deploy the vCenter on top of it, right? Now this screen where you can see the E drive healthy, that's your screenshot number 4. Second disk ready for vCenter is the title. So this 3 disk showing, or at least the E drive is showing with healthy primary partition. So take a screenshot number 4. So second disk added for vCenter is the title. Screenshot number 4, second disk added as a title. So I'll just go ahead. So let me just quickly put that screenshot here. So hopefully you've taken the screenshot already. Screenshot for second disk added to for vCenter. Sorry, for vCenter. Okay, let's quickly do that. Okay, here also on WhatsApp. Screenshot for second disk added to for vCenter. Okay guys, so if you've taken the screenshot as well, let's go back. Okay, so let's go ahead and now we can just start the installation of the vCenter. How do we start the installation of vCenter after we format the second disk? So we go to the yellow folder or the file explorer of this machine. So do not go to the laptop or desktop yellow folder, go to the virtual machines yellow folder or file explorer, and then go to this PC, right? So once you go to this PC in the file explorer, hopefully we all see this green and yellow logo there. This is your vCenter right now. So go ahead and double click that. Right? So go ahead and double click that. And press yes. So you should be seeing this screen now. Okay, so it's a vCenter server for Windows. Yep, that's the one. Now you can see that there is no prerequisite, they are saying, right? No prerequisite. So that's a good news. Cool, right? So do not click anything under that. This is the VUM or VMware Update Manager. So that lab is upcoming later. So vCenter for Windows is, if it is selected, then click install. Go ahead and click install now. Okay, we may have to add internet, I guess, or maybe not. Okay, so here, most probably not. So 6.5, please repeat after this PC. Okay, so I'm gonna, well, I'll just keep that window open. So click the this PC just window and double click the green yellow logo or the DVD. So click this PC and double click this DVD ROM. Once you double click that, so this window should open. Oh no, not this window. The previous window, just click install there. You know the window that opens after clicking there, just click the install button. So if you all have this screen, then
It's not going, Amir. I don't know why. When I press install, it's not going to be installed.
no, does it say?
Okay.
No, normally it just opens a little late.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's starting right now.
Okay. So once now we can just click next here. So if you see the screen, but guys, it does come late, right? So just click next whenever it comes, and then you have to read till 10 o'clock each and every line one by one, right? So go ahead and read that, and I'll be back at 10 o'clock to just close the class, right? Okay, just kidding. So I accept the terms, and let's go ahead. Oh, just Windows sees the whole. Oh yeah, just click the green auto run. Yeah, green auto run. Okay, your save is already there. So thank you. So in WhatsApp. Okay, guys. So it's just simple next finish, right? Well, not finish. Don't go finish. So let's click next. So guys, this is the area we need to understand. That now there is here you can see two types of deployment: embedded deployment and external deployment. So what's the difference between the two? So there are actually two major components. It's the vCenter itself is divided into two major components. So first is the platform services controller, this one. So one component of vCenter is platform services controller, and the other component is itself vCenter server. So what's the job of the two separate components here? What does platform services controller do, and what does vCenter server do? So it shows here, and it's written here as well, vCenter server 6.5 requires a platform service controller, definitely, which contains shared services such as, so what are the shared services it contains? Yeah. Okay, so Mahe, press OK on that. It's okay. Just press OK. And Orang, click next. I hope I'm saying it correctly, your name. So just click next. Yes, this is correct. Orang. And Mahe, then right click on unallocated, the black box, unallocated. Okay.
Yeah, it's here now.
Oh, sorry.
I'm done.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Prince.
Okay, you're good then.
Oh, mine is here. Good like that.
Sorry, you're cutting badly. Is it my internet connection or is it yours? I cannot understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Your voice is cutting. Okay, guys, so let us, yeah, I was talking about this platform service controller, and so platform service controller offers what? This would come in the midterm or final exam as well. So platform services controller offers shared services. What are shared services? vCenter single sign-on. So it offers, first of all, vCenter single sign-on. So what is vCenter single sign-on? So single sign-on, an example of single sign-on would be, suppose you're logging in from Gmail, but you can also use Google Photos, you can also use Google Calendar, you can also use many other applications. But single sign-on just means that you have to put one username password one time only and then use multiple services. That is called single sign-on. But what is single sign-on? Okay, any question? No. So what is a single sign-on here means? So suppose you have a vCenter here, right? And that vCenter is, you connected to this vCenter an appliance called replication. Appliance means that you install, you have a virtual machine with an application already installed inside, is called appliance. So you suppose you have a replication appliance here. So that appliance needs to be connected to the vCenter. So when you log in from vCenter with administrator and credential, you can also, with the same username and password, you can connect to this appliance as well. We're going to be installing VUM there as well, VMware Update Manager, to do patching on VMware, right? So that is a separate application that gets connected to vCenter. So single sign-on just means that when you log in from username and password of vCenter, you don't have to have separate username password to use VUM. You can use the same username password to use VUM. Yep. Yeah, you were saying? Still cutting. Yeah, it looks like your internet is down. Mahe, your voice is cutting. Or was it Mahe? I don't know. So, okay. Okay, guys. So we understand that vCenter of the platform services controller offers single sign-on, right? And then it also offers licensing. So platform services controller handles the licensing of the Esxi hypervisor, Esxi. It also controls the licensing of the vCenter. So whatever license you have purchased for vCenter, Standard, Enterprise, Essentials, and then any other extra features. Suppose you for FT you need licensing, it comes with a vCenter. But whatever licensing is needed for any of the services that you deploy in your environment of VMware, so platform services controller controls the licensing as well. And then certificate management, platform services controller control the certificate management. So security certificates are needed for, suppose you have customers coming from, suppose yours is a Toronto branch, right? And in that Toronto branch you have so this is Tor branch, suppose this is the Tor branch, right? So that Tor branch has a vCenter, and people are connecting from New York branch, they are connecting from NY, they are connecting from Tokyo or from any other, right? So what happens is that if they are connecting to your vCenter, so your vCenter actually needs a security certificate. Where do you get the security certificate from? You get it from GoDaddy.com, you get it from VeriSign.com, you get it from Digicert.com. So those sites provide you security certificates, and security certificates do what? These security certificates, they offer you authentication and encryption, right? So encryption, right? They provide you authentication and encryption, right? So you can deploy security certificates for every Esxi machine if you want, the vCenter servers, or any appliances that you have deployed. You can deploy security certificates for that. So all the security certificates are centrally managed by platform services controller. So platform service controller controls single sign-on, licensing, and certificate management, right? So an embedded platform services controller is deployed on the same Windows. So they're saying that if you choose embedded deployment, this means you're deploying both platform service controller and vCenter together. Why would you deploy them together? For smaller environments like ours. Ours is tiny actually. Smaller means maybe there are 100 hypervisors and 1,000 machines. That's what they call small in VMware. So if embedded deployment would be small environment and they would be installed together. But if you have large environments, suppose this is Toronto branch, you have a vCenter server, and then New York branch, you also have a vCenter server separate. Now these two are separately deployed vCenter server. Normally one vCenter can handle very big environment as well, but two vCenters, maybe it's huge environment, or you just want separation of administration, or they are just separate branches and both branches are very big, right? So in that case you would have New York vCenter server deployed there and Toronto branch. In that case you would have separately deployed platform service controller, so it could remotely offer services to this vCenter server in New York and this vCenter server in Toronto. And what it will offer? The shared services of single sign-on, licensing, and certificate management, but to different vCenter servers. So this is external deployment is used when you have very big environment and you want to have separation of administration as well. So centrally you want to control those critical services, so you control it from a separate deployment of platform service controller, which will be deployed in a separate virtual machine or a physical machine, wherever you want to play. So Xiang says, what is embedded platform? Embedded deployment or platform, when you say platform, so it is actually the same thing, that you're deploying in one virtual machine platform services controller as well as vCenter. We are about to do that because we just have a small environment, so we're going to deploy platform services controller plus vCenter server in one single machine. So that is called embedded deployment, and this platform or where they deploy is called embedded platform, right? So but the vCenter itself, so we know that okay, platform service controller offers shared services. What does vCenter do? vCenter do everything else. And what is everything else? Everything else is that vCenter will control all the virtual machines, day-to-day problems of virtual machines, the Esxi, the storage, the inventory, the security, and networking, high availability features, disaster recovery features, backups. So all that is being handled by the vCenter, right? So all the virtual machines related matters, Esxi related communication and connectivity and networking and storage and security and scalability and monitoring and okay, and disaster recovery and backups. Everything is handled by the vCenter. But the shared services are these, which are handled by the platform services controller. So the embedded environment or embedded platform would be platform services would be that you deploy both main components in one machine, not on separate machines. So that's and we're going for the embedded deployment. So that's what we're going to go for. Okay, let me just put that screenshot there in your OneNote. Okay, so we're going for embedded deployment here. That is that platform source controller and vCenter will be deployed together because we have a very small environment. So keep it selected and click next. So once you click next here, you can see that it has already given a system name, and obviously that's the name of your machine on top of which you're deploying this the whole embedded platform or the vCenter plus platform service controller. So yeah, this name is okay. We don't need to change that name. It's all it's supposed to be in DNS, and it is in already the DNS server as well, the A record and pointer record of that. So we're good. No change here, and click next. So here, vCenter single sign-on domain name. So guys, just like Microsoft Windows has a domain name, VMware vCenter also has a domain name. And just like Microsoft Windows has a domain administrator account called administrator, VMware vCenter also has a top admin account as administrator. Why is that similarity there? Because VMware was and is attracting all the Windows administrators to VMware. They don't have to learn something totally new. They've created their architecture in terms of just topology and some of the user accounts and security credentials. So they've put it same like Windows. But they do say that, hey, do not confuse this with your Windows domain. This is a separate vCenter domain, and right now it has nothing to do with Windows domain. So it says that, hey, put that name there. Actually, the name is already there, so keep it vSphere.local. We can put any name here, right? Any name, Bitcoin.local or Toronto.local, whatever. But let's keep it vSphere.local. What we cannot change is the administrator name, the first username with which you can log in, and it has all the privileges inside the vCenter application. So this is the top account. We're okay with that as well. You need to give a tough password here, and we have already given the class password, so I'm going to give that class password here as well. Small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123, without shift 123, and then small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123, and without shift 123. So vCenter single sign-on password, you just give it a complex password, and now site name we can also change it to anything. Suppose you want to go for Toronto site, no spaces, Toronto site, right? Or anything you want to put there without spaces, one word. Okay, so hopefully you have you've done this configuration on this page and understood what it is. So it's going to have its own network name or domain name like this, and the top administrator account and the password to remember that, and the site has been changed. So if you've done that, click next. Okay, so here it says vCenter server service account. So well, basically what it says here, if you have a separate SQL server, suppose this is a big deployment, and this is your suppose vCenter, and it's a big deployment, so this means there will be a lot of data there in the vCenter, configurational data. So you got a separate machine and you installed a SQL server or a database server on this machine, right? So in that case, you can go for specify a user service account. What is a service account? Maybe some of you have heard about it. Service account is like a user account, but it is used with applications. Service account is used for applications. Suppose a service wants to access Active Directory. Suppose a vCenter service wants to access Active Directory, so it will take the help of a service account to go to AD Active Directory and maybe retrieve users or cross-check the credentials of the users. So service accounts help the application reach or give some you can say authorizations to do some of the tasks in the background. So it says that if you have a big environment and if you have deployed SQL server separately or database server separately, then go for this option. Otherwise, if you want to deploy an inbuilt embedded SQL server, database server inside this machine, then stick to this option, right? So that's what it's saying, and obviously ours is a small environment. We haven't deployed a separate SQL server, so we're going to stick to our embedded SQL server. It's going to install that SQL server as well. Okay, so we're going to stick to this account. We don't have a separate machine with database server or SQL server installed there, so I'm just going to click next without changing anything. And then it says that, okay, use an embedded database. Yes, obviously, VMware Postgres. So it's not gonna be an external database in another machine. It's gonna be internal small database. So we're not gonna change that option as well. And click next. Okay, these are all the ports for different services that the vCenter offers. And these ports, suppose you have a firewall open between two branches, and it's not suppose, you have a firewall always on a branch level. So in this branch, if there is a communication going across a branch between two vCenters in different branches, so in the firewall of both of the branches, you need to add these ports as exceptions, like let the traffic for this service or syslog service or secure token service or auto deploy, each-side dump collector, heartbeat port, vSphere web client service, let them pass through the firewall as an exception to the other branch. Or if you have an operating system based firewall open, then you have to add all these ports as exceptions. So we're going to keep these as is. We don't need to change any port here. So we're going to click next. So here, guys, be careful on this page. Be careful on this page. We see C drive here, right? But we know that we have a E drive there. So we're going to carefully change that. Now I'm going to click that change button, and please strictly follow that. If I no click, you no click, right? So I'm going to click that change here, and what you need to do is simply put the drive letter of E instead of C, and do not change the folder architecture. Although technically it's not compulsory that this folder architecture be there. You can just put it in any folder, but we're going to keep that official folder folders that were defined by VMware. I'm just going to change the C to E like this. That's all right. So once that is done, I'm simply going to press O.
We should do it also?
Yes, everyone.
We should change it to,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Everyone should do that. So go ahead, guys, and hopefully you have changed the C to E. That's all you need to do, and have the column there still available, and press O and OK. And here also for the second one, so first one is what? Install vCenter server with an embedded platform service controller, 6 GB only. It's going to take space. So, and the second one is saying store data for vCenter server with an embedded platform service controller, 8 GB is going to take. So yes, that's the installation files of the whole vCenter. I'm just going to change here the C to E as well. That's all, right? I'm going to click change and put it on E, right? The summary of this page will be your next screenshot now. So I'm just going to press O and K. Okay, so make sure both exactly look like this. EE on both, right? So once that is done, then I'm going to click next. Ready? Okay, it says join the VMware Customer Experience Improvement Program. We do not want to improve this program, so I'm going to uncheck that. And next. I'm just kidding. We want to improve this program. Okay. So guys, ready to install. Just take a screenshot number 5 here for this summary page. Screenshot number 5 here for the summary page. And it's vCenter ready to install is the title. So take a screenshot number 5 here, and it's vCenter ready to install. So I'll just take that sample screenshot here. So screenshot number 5, vCenter ready to install. Screenshot 5, vCenter ready to install. Okay, so a sample screenshot there as well. Screenshot 5, vCenter ready to install. Okay guys, that's it. Well, that's what. Let's just click in and install. Whew. Okay, I'll click the install button now. And yeah, kind of see you on the other side. Oh, we didn't have a break today. It's okay. We can go breakless. Break failed. Something like that. Or not. Oh, need break? Okay. Yeah, college told me to, give a break. Give a break to us, teach, prof. Okay, so guys, let's meet again at 8:41. Okay, 42. And hopefully by that time we're done. If you get an error, you can restart the installation. Better, in some cases, you have to actually shut down that machine, install a new machine, join it to the domain, and then redeploy in certain cases. Anyway, hopefully nobody gets an error. So let's take a break here. Break. Class starts at 42. Video resumed. Okay, so installation is still going on. Whoa, save is done. You're kidding me, man. So guys, whoever's installation is done before me, it's -10 temperature. So there's a new rule. You can't go ahead of the teacher, right? So just try to, drag this back with this mouse. Just drag it back like this, right? Or just put the mouse here, it will stop here, right? Yeah, see? Oh, okay. It's not working for me. So guys, the screenshot number 6 would be if you're on the finished screen and you did not click that button of finish. So that was screenshot number 6, that you successfully deployed that. Once it is deployed, just keep the screen open. That would be
Amir, so mine done. So what should I do? Just say finish?
No, like don't click finish and that if it is done for you guys, so you can go for the screenshot like vCenter successfully installed is the title, and it is screenshot number 6. For those it is
Okay,
done,
thanks.
take a screenshot of the finished screen. Do not click the finish button, and the title is vCenter successfully installed. vCenter successfully installed. My machine is so slow. This means. Okay, Edis is still installing. So this means that Edis will get +10 temperature, not marks. But yeah, that's good. You're installing and I'm still installing. So I'm not alone here, right? So that's good. So Saif gets all the samosas. Hey, leave one for me, man. So guys, once you're done with that, keep that screen, the last screen, open, and screenshot number 6 would be vCenter installed successfully. And oh, okay, the G is also installing, so that's +10 again. Okay, so guys, we can do one more lab while it is installing for me, or actually it's about to finish, I guess. But still we need to do that lab. But also when it is finished, we need to take screenshot number 6. Now let's talk about the other tasks that we need to do while it is installing, or even if it is done, we still need to do that task, and that is to install the software SAN, to introduce the small software SAN, right? So while it is installing, or it is installed, okay, like mine is done. Yay, mine is done. Woo, yay. Okay, so here mine is done, and I'm not gonna click finish. Hopefully those who are still going under the process should, whenever you reach this page, do not click finish, right? So now let me just take a sample screenshot, and that would be our screenshot number 6, and it should just show this screen. I'll put it on our OneNote. So it's screenshot 6 vCenter installation successful, and screenshot. I'll put that sample screenshot there as well. So Sylvester says mine looks like it is stuck in the middle of installation at starting VMware vCenter server. Ouch. Well, Sylvester, if it's same like Sylvester, it just takes time. Okay. So Sylvester, yeah, I was gonna actually say that if as far as it didn't give an error, you're good. It's just slow, or that slow, or slow-esque, but slow. Oh, it rhymes. Slow. Oh. Now I'm just gonna put that screenshot 6 vCenter installation successful. Alright guys, so while this is installing for some, so keep that installation going. Those who are done, keep your page here, right? We need to do a separate task. So for those it is still in progress, you need to do that lab with us as well. And those who are done, yeah, obviously you need to also do. So everyone can do this separate lab while it is done or in progress. We'll leave it at this page. And those who are later done with this, when you see that screen for yourself, just take a screenshot and the sample screenshot, and the title is there. So what is the other task we need to do that is also very, very important? That other task is these. So we need to deploy a software SAN, and this is the software SAN here already, right? Written there. So server 1 is where we're going to deploy the software SAN. We may have talked about software SAN before as well, but this is going to be a main requirement of a virtualization environment, So what is the main requirement? That you must provide SAN shared disks over the network. So in our case, what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 disks here, whatever size. We'll go for 400 GB disks. It could be 500 as well, it could be 600, whichever, but just for consistency of configuration, we're going to all put here this size of 400 GB disks. And what will we do with these disks? We will first add those disks. We're going to bring them online. We're going to initialize them. We're going to format them, and it would be EFGH drive letters. These drives will be given, so just like adding any drive. But then on this server 1 machine, we're going to install a feature called Esxi server. So that feature, what is the purpose of that feature? That feature normally can let your disks be shared over the network with any other machine. So the Esxi server lets your local disks be shared with any other machine on the network. The full disk is shared. So those shared disks are also called excuse me, LANs. So LANs, or logical unit number, or shared disks over the network, right? So shared disks over the network, or LANs, or logical unit numbers. So it would then look like this. The disks will be, each disk will be shared with each hypervisor. What does that mean? So this same disk will be attached to Esxi1, and this same disk will be attached to Esxi2 as well. And this same disk will be attached to Esxi1 and same to Esxi2, and the same with this same disk will be attached to Esxi1 and Esxi2, right? So what's going on here? If this same disk is attached to Esxi1 and same disk is attached to Esxi2, then what's the benefit of that? The benefit is that when you create a virtual machine now, so you can place the virtual disk of the virtual machine on this shared disk. Okay, what's the benefit of this configuration? So first of all, your virtual machines, all files, and especially the virtual disk is very critical. Why? All the data of the company is in this virtual disk, and maybe the CEO of the company, the directors, the managers, the employees, they're all connecting to this virtual machine and making changes in that data in the disk. So in that case, this virtual disk would be the most critical asset of the company. This virtual disk can be placed, suppose this virtual machine is there, so its virtual disk is placed on a local disk, right? So if I go for, suppose this is a local physical disk, right? And on the local physical disk, you have created a data store on top of that, just like in last lab. So Safe says, you mean the data store for VMs will be on those shared drives? Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. So I'm going towards that exact explanation, that suppose this is a local physical disk, and in the local physical disk you have just like in previous diagram, so local phi disk and the local phi disk based data store. So that's the data store 1. That is, so this is the type of configuration that we want to avoid in a professional environment. What do we want to avoid? We don't want to create a virtual machine whose virtual disk is on top of a local physical disk based data store. Why? If this server goes down, then it will take down our virtual disk which has critical data. It will take down this one as well, right? So that's why the best thing to do is that you place the virtual machine's virtual disk on top of the LAN. So this means that, or the shared disk. So this means that you will create a data store not on top of the local physical disk of a physical server, but you will create that data store on top of a shared disk that is coming from over the network, right? So that shared disk will have all the data stores, and those will be LAN-based data stores, right? So it would be LAN 01 or LAN 1 based data stores. So on WhatsApp there's a picture there. Yeah, basically if it does not give any error, then it's just slow and let it go ahead. If it specifically gives an error, then we can restart it, but right now don't touch it and don't stop it, just keep it going. It seems like it's stuck, but it's just slowly processing that information, so it's better to let it go. If you don't see a clear error, let it go, let it run. Alright guys, so we see here that LAN-based data stores are better than local physical disk-based data store. And LAN-based data stores, what happens? If the same scenario happens now, that your physical server actually crashes, right? So your critical virtual disk was never on this physical server. It was actually here on this, right? On this disk that is remotely being shared. So when you place anything on the LAN here or the shared disk over the network here, it actually gets copied on the source where the disk is coming from. So that's a very good thing. If this physical server goes down, your virtual disk is safe, right? So that's the first good thing about creating the software SAN or physical SAN, which is more expensive. Or then later we're gonna read another feature or go through another feature called vSAN, virtual SAN. But anyway, the software SAN or the SAN itself, storage area network, or remote disks over the network are always very critical, and they are very useful, and they are there in every professional environment. So Safe says all those drives are mirrors of one another. Mirrors, we can make them mirrors, otherwise they are totally independent separate disks. You create one virtual machine's virtual disk on this one, and the second virtual machine's virtual disk on, suppose, this one. So that's a separate disk, that's a separate disk. You can mirror them, yes, if you want, but normally they are totally separate 3 disks where you can place machine virtual disks and files. Okay, so this is the first benefit. Second benefit is of sharing the disk over the network and mapping it to the Esxi1 and Esxi2. The second benefit is that when you migrate a machine, this is called vMotion. When you vMotion a powered on virtual machine where actually end users are connected, and all of a sudden there's very slow performance, unacceptably slow performance on this physical server, they put a complaint, and then you realize that, oh, there are so many virtual machines there, so that's why there's that. Okay, let me just remove that. So suppose you want to migrate the machine from, or vMotion the machine from one physical server to another, one hypervisor to another. So what happens is when the end users are connected and the performance is very bad, you realize that because of the other machines and it's the peak time, so that's why your performance is bad for this virtual machine. So you decide to vMotion or migrate a powered on machine to another server. So in that case, virtual disk never moves, never travels, it stays. Only virtual machine and its memory contents move, and when the virtual machine reaches here, it still is connected to this disk. Why? Because this disk is on a data store. This data store is on a shared disk or LAN. That LAN is attached to this hypervisor. Same LAN is attached to this hypervisor as well. So when the virtual machine moves from the RAM of one hypervisor to another, it never loses connection with its virtual disk. So since the data is so small for the virtual machine, it moves real fast here. If you had to move the disk as well, maybe that disk is 100 GB, 200 GB, 60 GB, then it's going to take a long time. Better if you want to move the disk, then you do it on the weekend or at night when users are not there. But during the peak time, if you have to migrate, then only virtual machine moves and the disk does not move. That's the second benefit of the SAN. Okay, Jiang says if physical disk down, nothing affected the resources pool. If the physical disk down, so suppose if this exactly, maybe you're talking about this disk and not this disk. Suppose you're talking about this disk down. So normally when we purchase SAN, so that's a very expensive solution. So normally you have a copy, you take regular backups of that, regular snapshots of that, and you are you have a total replication and mirroring, underlying mirroring going on between this. So this one disk, one volume will be on top of maybe three disks, three physical disks here, right? And on top of this is just one single volume. This is another single volume which may be on top of two physical disks that are mirrored together, right? And then this would also maybe under three physical disks, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 10, RAID 6, whichever you want. So normally if the one disk, underlying disk goes down, so other disk will keep the show running, right? And you will replace this disk as well. So if physical disk on the SAN side goes down, it normally is covered. It is already RAID protected. This is good. Okay, Eris says, could you say it again? So this whole process of what we're about to do is software SAN, and this means that we're going to create three disks on server 1, and we're going to convert them to iSCSI disks. iSCSI disk means that now you can share these disks over the network with any other machine, right? So we're going to share three disks with these two machines here, right? And then what is the benefit of sharing the disks over the network? The first benefit is that if the physical server goes down, right, goes down, so this virtual machine's data was never on the physical server. It was actually here, remotely here, right? So that's the first benefit. Second benefit is that the virtual machine, when it migrates from one server to another, so only virtual machine should move. The virtual disk should not move. If virtual disk had to move, it's always large file. Maybe it's 200 GB, maybe it's 100 GB, right? So it takes a long time to migrate. So during the migration, during peak times when the end users are connected, if we need to migrate the machine, only the machine and the memory content of the machine moves, which is very small data. So it moves real fast here. And the disk it is connected to, when this machine reaches here, it still is connected to this disk. Why? Because this disk is on top of these shared disks, right? This shared disk is attached to Esxi1, and this shared disk is attached to Esxi2 as well, same disk. So when the virtual machine moves away from one physical server to another, it still has that connectivity with that virtual disk, because this virtual disk is on top of the LAN. That LAN is attached here, and that LAN is attached here as well. So that's okay. And okay, guys. So well, we talked about that software SAN, and maybe the installation is still going on for some. But even if it is done for everyone, we need to actually configure this software SAN side of the whole environment, right? So what we need to do is that we're going to go to server 1 now, and we're going to add three disks, 400 GB each, one by one. Then we're going to bring them online, initialize, format them one by one, label them LAN 1, LAN 2, LAN 3, right? Then we're going to install this service called iSCSI server, and then convert each disk one by one as iSCSI disk. As soon as you convert each disk to iSCSI disk, what happens is you can share them over the network with any machine. In our case, we're going to share them with these two machines, right? So let's start the step-by-step process of creating a software SAN. For that, it could be 4 disks, it could be 40 disks, it could be 400 disks, 4,000 disks. We're just going to go for 3 disks, right? And so this is going to be done on server 1, so we're not touching server 2 right now. We're going to go to server 1 now. Hopefully we understand what we're talking about, and you can repeat the video to understand again. And during the week, if you have questions, you can also ask me. Oh, Zhang, I was just where did you lost from? So I'm just saying that we're gonna create 3 disks here, and let's go to server 1. Let's create 3 disks here, and then we will first format them, and then we're gonna convert them to Esxi disks, and then share them with all other machines. So that's what I was. Oh, what was your question, Jiang? Oh yeah, I gave a answer to that. So when I was giving answer, your connection was gone. Okay. So, ouch, Jasminder. Okay. So, okay, Zhang, are you listening? I hope your connection is okay. Okay, so your connection seems to be okay now. Physical disk, okay. So when you asked that question, I was explaining at that time. So okay, here, if the physical, I think you mean this physical disk is down, or maybe you mean this physical disk is down. So it depends on what you exactly mean. Which disk are you saying that if it is down, what will happen? So what I think is that you're saying that this physical disk, the software SAN is down, then what happens, right? Okay, so if this disk is down, normally what happens is that this is a software SAN, so it's a training environment, but in production environment you normally have this SAN. Which SAN? Oh, so let me grab, yeah. So it looks like, well, somewhat looks like that, more or less. So normally you have this kind of SAN here. So this is very expensive. If it is expensive, obviously it will have all the redundancy there. So what I was explaining there, that you will have 3 disks. Suppose there's a volume here, right? So under that volume would be, it would be protected by RAID 1, RAID 5 or RAID 10 with 3 underlying disks. So it would be still one volume, but underlying it will be mirrored with each other. So suppose underlying one disk goes down, the other 2 disks will keep that volume up. So there's constant redundancy available for this disk. So suppose this is the disk, this is the disk, this is the disk. So we will offer in SAN one big volume, which comprises of 3 disks. If one disk goes down, it will still have the other 2 disks to keep the volume running, and you can quickly, replace this with a working disk. Also, there's a snapshot going on always, and then there's backups going on always. So whenever you lose a disk, you always have a data backed up somewhere else as well. So if it goes down, obviously SAN people invest $50,000, $80,000, $100,000, $200,000. So it's a very expensive solution. So that's why redundancy is one of the most important thing that they basically cover. So always it's RAID 1 covered or RAID 5 covered, protected, or RAID 10 protection is there. Yeah, so it could be, if it's a 600 GB, so it would be 200 GB. So if it is RAID 1, I hope everyone knows what is RAID 1. So you have 2 disks there in RAID 1, and suppose they are both 1 terabyte each, 1 terabyte. So normally in RAID 1 mirroring, you use half the space there, right? If you have RAID 5, then there is 1 disk space less. So RAID 5 minimum 3 disks you need, and maximum 32 disks you need. So at least 1 disk space worth is not available, but other disk space is available, and on that you create a volume, and then if 1 disk is gone, you're still covered and it still keeps on running. So yes, what you're saying is 200 GB that can be covered, but 1 disk is always less size when the redundancy is available. So hopefully, if you have further questions or discussions, let me know. Otherwise, we can do this lab now. Software SAN, right? So let's go ahead, guys. Here on server 1, we will just go for server 1 now, right? So in server 1, we need to add the 3 disks. So let's right click here on server 1, right? And then click settings. Why are we clicking settings? We need to add 3 disks there according to the plan we just discussed in the diagram. So let's add the 3 disks in the settings. and we planned that it will be all 3 disks that will be 400 GB each. It could be any other size, we're just choosing 400 GB, but a size that is not exactly same as the one we already have, right? Just to keep them apart and identifying them. So I'm just going to click the add button here on server 1. Make sure that we are on server 1 here now, and we're adding the 3 disks on server 1. So I click add here. So once you click add, now we already know that how to add a disk, and those who have NVMe's, you're good as well. So let's click the hard disk and click next. If it is SCSI, it's okay. If it is NVMe, it's okay. Keep it selected and click next. Then we go for create a new virtual disk. So no changes here, just like last time. And next. So the size here is, this is a software SAN related configuration we're doing. So we just want to identify with the size difference. And oh yeah, these disks are dedicated for software SAN. So if they are not 200, then okay. If they're 400, this means they are for software SAN. We're just identifying it for our own ease of accessing and realizing. Okay, so 400 GB here, and store virtual disk as a single file. Make sure exactly this is how you select that, and click next. So this is outside name of the disk. We don't need that, right? So click finish. We're gonna add 2 more disks now, 400 GB each. So let's click add again. We know the drill now. Hard disk. Next, SCSI or NVMe, whichever. Next. Create a new virtual disk. Next. And 400. Okay, so 400 and single file. So that's the second disk we're adding, and the outside name we don't need to change anything here. So click finish. And then we go for add here again, and then let's go for hard disk, third time. Next, SCSI or NVMe. Next, create a virtual disk. Next. We know the drill now. And next, right? So that's it. Outside name, no change. Finito. Okay, so that's 400, 400, 400. We got 3 disks there, right? So we need to make them online, bring them online, initialize them, and format them one by one. Then we're going to convert them to iSCSI disks to be offered over the network as shared disks or LANs to E6i1 and E6i2. So I'm just going to press OK now. Ready? So okay, what's the errors, Yang?
Okay, it's saying.
Oh, okay, NVMe. So you need to shut down if it's NVMe, right?
Device SCSI 0 cannot be hot added.
Yeah, hot add means that machine is started and we can add. So for NVMe's, or if this error comes, shut down the machine and then do this task. I think 5 or 6 minutes of getting this. So I'll just drag this here. I think this is error everyone's getting, or many of you are getting. Yes, it's NVMe. So yeah, since I don't have NVMe, so I was able to hot add, or if so, please go ahead and shut down server 1. Oh, whoa, stop, guys. Is your vCenter done? Then shut down. Maybe it's too late now.
So we can press finish to vCenter.
No. Whoever sees the finished screen, yours is done. You can shut down and add the disk and then come back. Those, it is in progress. You guys cannot shut down. Yes, it will affect the, if we shut down, it will affect the installation ongoing. If somebody's installation on server 2 is ongoing, please do not shut down. You need to wait for that installation to finish. But if your installation on server 2 is done, go ahead and shut down and add the 3 disks there and then power on the machine. So be careful, guys.
So we already added those hard disks. So what should we do? Right now we should turn off the virtual machine 1, and what happened to those? We already installed it.
So if in server 1 you were able to add the disks without shutting down, then you're okay. But if you were not able to add it while the machine was on, then shut down the machine, add the 3 disks and power on again. Right? So if you were able to add without powering off, then it's okay. We don't need to do anything. Yes, Young, add 3 without power on, like shut down the machine. And if yours is NVMe or it gives this error that I'm showing on the screen, so first see if on server 2 your vCenter is done. If it is not done, then don't go for this step. Right? If it is done, then shut down server 1 only and add the 3 disks and power on. Hopefully we understand what we're talking about. So
I'm sorry, I'm already shut down my server 1, and there's a status in server 1. It shows 3 extra disks.
like
So do I need to do? So I don't think I need to add it again, right?
yeah, if you have already added the 3 disks, 400 GB each, then just
Can you check with the WhatsApp? I added a picture in there.
yeah, in the
So
WhatsApp
is
showing that. Okay, let me just check that. Okay, there are more pictures here. So I think I'm done. Yes, Sauron, you're done. And oh yeah, so you got 3 disks already. That's good. Jiang, so you can power on.
Okay, thank you.
And what are other disks, other pictures here? So I hope everyone got it. When I click OK, I got restoring virtual machine state. Yes, it happened. I did.
Yes, sorry, when I finished adding the Esxi 400 disk, I got, and I said okay, then I got a prompt on the screen saying restoring virtual machine state. But it's fine now. I think, device share could not be what's added.
Oh,
How's it?
I cannot understand. You're cutting as well. Can you share the screenshot of that? Shall I click finish on server 2 before clicking? What I'm going to do is if you have taken the screenshot, well, keep the finish there. Keep the screen there. Yeah.
Do I need to power down?
So, Ayudaji, you don't have to power down if you don't have that error that you were showing in the WhatsApp. Did you see that error in the WhatsApp?
No, I didn't. I've not sent anything to the WhatsApp. I got device SKI 0 could not be added.
Oh, hot added. So shut down your machine, server 1, and add all the disks, and then power on.
Okay, thank you.
Amir, I have the vCenter complete on my server too, and I have taken the screenshot also. So should I?
No, you don't have to click finish yet.
Okay, without that, I can just shut down my server 1.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so yeah, so I just shut down the machine and then add the 3 disks one by one. If you're done that, please power on. Test channel shut down before adding. Yes, shut down before adding. And Aura20 says same with me. I got the error, could not be hot added, and I didn't shut down, and my unallocated 3 disks are showing in disk management. Oh, okay, that's good. So this means that it said that it cannot hot add, but it still added the disks. That's what you're saying. So that's cool. Wow. Shall I click finish on server 2 for vCenter? Nope. Let's keep that window open. Alright guys, yeah, there you go. So Esxi is on the correct screen. That's where we need to go on WhatsApp. He's showing that. So guys, we need to go to Server Manager. If you've powered on the machine again, then go to Tools and go to Computer Management here as well. Remember how we did that in Server 2? We need to do all that there in Server 1 for 3 disks as well. Okay, so I'm going to click that Tools in Server 1 and Computer Management, and then Disk Management, right? And Computer Management is open in Server 1, and I'm going to go for Disk Management in Server 1. Okay, so I see this. Hopefully everyone sees this too. So I can see that all 3 disks are offline, offline, offline. So first thing is we can make them all online, online, online. Okay, so Cure is already on initialize disk, which is okay. Cure, you can just press OK on the initialize screen that you're showing in WhatsApp. So I'm going to press right click here, online guys, and then I'm going to go down here and right click online again for the disk 2, and then I'm going to go to disk 3 and right click here and click online. Some of you will not see that because those who have NVMe, you may not need to have initialization even done. So but now I'm just gonna, after bringing 3 disks online, I'm gonna right click on the disk 1 again, and it says initialize disk, right? So I'm just gonna click initialize, and since all 3 disks are online, so it says that, hey, do you want to initialize them all together, which is okay. MBR is okay as well. If you have selected GPT, that is also okay. It doesn't really matter which one you select right now. They're not more than 2 terabyte disks. So disk 1, disk 2, disk 3, if you see that initialized, that's okay. Go ahead and press OK, right? Now we need to format each disk one by one separately and name the first disk as LON01, second disk as LON02, third disk as LON03. So I'm just going to do that now. So I'm going to right click on the first unallocated space here in disk 1, unallocated. I'm going to right click and new simple volume. We're not going for mirror and RAID 5. So new simple volume, the first one, top one, right? And click next. So we're going to separately format them one by one, right? So okay, and then next. So it catches the next available drive letter E, which is okay, and click next. So here guys, we just need to change the volume. Suppose you click next already, and you can rename that even afterwards as well. So I'm going to change that to LON01, the second one LON02, third one LON03, right? So that's pretty much very straightforward, right? So I'm going to click next and finito. Okay, I'll go to the second and third one now, right? So I'm going to go to the disk 2 unallocated and right click here and go to new simple volume and click next. 400 GB is okay. Next. It takes the next available drive letter F. Next. We see LON02 and then LON03. So next here and finito. Then I'm going to go for the third one. Now we know the drill here. So go ahead and right click and new simple volume. Next. Next. It takes the drive letter G. Next. The volume name would be LON03. Next. Finish. Oh, okay. So hopefully everyone has this done, and we need to still go ahead and what do you call them, lawn? Well, they are not lawns yet, but just to put them in perspective, that these are dedicated for the shared disk purpose. So that's why I call them lawn. They are not lawns yet. They're not shared disk yet, but they will be. So I just originally called them that. Okay, so letter says, for every disk we add to the VM, will it create individual VMDK files, or will there be just one for every VM? No. They are all different individual VMDK files, but they are all inside one folder of the virtual machine. So in virtual machine folder, this one, all these separate disks are available. Separate files are available, but in one folder, organized. All right. So guys, here, now let us go ahead and convert them to iSCSI. Cool. And let us, so how do we convert them to iSCSI? If that is done, see this, let's go to the server manager here, this one. In server manager, what you will see is this file and storage services. That's where we will go ahead and get the iSCSI server service and convert these disks to iSCSI disks, right? So let's click that file and storage services. File and storage services, right? So if you see files and storage services, servers, volumes, disks, storage pools, shares, iSCSI. Oh, there's that iSCSI, right? Hopefully everyone is able to see that iSCSI here under server manager, file and storage services, servers, right? So if you click the iSCSI, so it says on the right side, to install iSCSI target server, start the add roles and features wizard, right? Now this means that iSCSI service is not installed in this server yet. Once you click this button, this link, it will install the iSCSI target server, and then we will be able to convert the disks, local disks, to iSCSI disks and share them over the network. So let's click that URL now. So it exactly takes us to this page where if you drop down this, see this? If you scroll down this, so you can see that it is already selected for us. iSCSI target server. This will help us convert the disk to local disk to iSCSI and share it with the two hypervisors. So it is already selected. We don't need to do anything, and click next. Nothing here on the features. It's just next, finish now. Next, install. Next again, and install. Okay, so it's installing.
Amir, sorry. So why we should initialize those disk? Why we should do that?
Why we should initialize?
Yeah.
Because we want to make it usable. We want to make partitions inside. So we have to initialize it. So it's GBR or GPT or MBR partition.
Always we should do that for disk when we install them.
Every time, yes. If we install a new raw disk, then in order to make it usable and put data on top of it, we have to initialize them and then format them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys. So hopefully this installation is done for iSCSI for everyone. And I'll click close now. Okay. So guys, now the link has changed. So it says to create an iSCSI virtual disk, start the new iSCSI virtual disk wizard. So what happens now is that we will one by one convert each local disk, EFNG, to an iSCSI disk. And that's going to be really interesting. So if you see that, let's click to create an iSCSI virtual disk. So that's the first disk we're going to convert, then the second disk, then the third disk, one by one. So I'm going to click that, and
So we should close it because Oh, still it is in installing progress,
If it
or
is installing
should
progress,
I
then
wait?
don't close. Wait for it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So hopefully the installation is done for everyone. Hopefully it is done for everyone. Chang says I lost a new volume for disk 012. Lost the new volume, which means that you don't see disk 123 in server 1. In that case, you can right click and add it again. Okay, we're done. Show the screenshot. So Chang, you can click close now, or Chang, you can try to right click again and add the 3 disks again, right? Settings and click add. If you don't see it there at all, or wait for the video, the class is about to finish. Okay guys, so which disk we need to convert? So we will all convert this C, right? we will be converting C drive, right? Or wrong? I think everyone agrees that we will convert the C drive. Okay, we're good. EFG, yay, exactly. So it will not be C drive, it will be E drive, and let's select that E drive. C drive has our operating system, obviously, so we don't want to lose anything there. So let's click the E drive only. Well, we can only select E drive, and then click next. So here it says, hey, you want to give some name to the disk? Okay, we're giving some name already, so we can just give 101 here, logical unit number. Oh yeah, so there's a very big no. So 101, right? And click next. Okay, so it says that, hey, do you wanna use the full disk or you wanna use half of it? So we'll say, yeah, we wanna use the full disk, 400 GB, right? And Sham, so repeat from where? So I'll cancel here. Sham, are you on this page? Hopefully you're on this page. So click close and then come here and click this link. And then you need to select E, right? So once you select E, then click next. So, okay, click next. There's just a word Y by this channel in WhatsApp. Hopefully, well, I don't get that. Maybe you have a question. So 101, just put that name 101 here and click next. Oh, it's yes. Okay. So then we're gonna use the whole disk. So we're gonna type 400 here. And guys, fixed disk means thick provisioning, and dynamically expanding means thin provisioning. We already talked about thin and thick. In Windows, fixed disk is thick provision, and dynamically expanding is thin provision. So we're going to keep it dynamically expanding and click next. Okay, so you see that there is no other choice but to choose new iSCSI target. We need to understand this terminology first, and the terminology is that if there's a target that offers the disk, and then there's a initiator that requests a disk. So let me just put that here. Target in a storage, when you see a target, it offers, always remember, it offers the disks over the network, right? And initiators equals is request the disks or LUNs or share disks over the network, right? So this terminology is coming now. So first of all, it says that, hey, do you want to name the target? Anyone can tell me which machine here in the diagram is target and which machine is or are initiators? Anyone can tell me which machine is target, which machine is initiators in this diagram? Okay, Jiang says 1 is target and okay, Saif says 1 is target. Sylvester says he's initiators. 2 initiators. Who are the initiators? Which are they? So server 2 is the initiator. Server 2, Esxi1, Esxi2, are these all initiators? The VMs? Well, we have 4 VMs here. Server 2 is initiator? Okay, anyone else? VMs on the Esxi? No. No, Sid. Sylvester says it. Esxi1 is the initiator. Esxi2 is the initiator. Virtual machines will be later created in Esxi1 and their virtual disk will be placed on our disks or LUNs that we're about to map here now, right? So these are the ones. So initiators are these 2 guys who are requesting the disks, and target is this guy who is offering the disks, right? In a production environment, this would be the target. The whole SAN towers having long disks. Initiators would be obviously always Esxi1, Esxi2, Esxi100, Esxi2000, right? Okay, so we get the idea here that, okay, who's target and who's initiator. So I'm going to go back here and it says that, can you give me the name of the target? So we can give any name here. So click next first of all, nothing on this page, just click next. And it says that, okay, give me the name. So you can just say that storage target 1. You can just put any name here, right? Target. Suppose it's sales department related servers and disks. So sales department target 1. It could be any name, right? So storage target 1, under this target, with this target, you can attach as many disks. Suppose you have actually 200 disks there, SSD disks. So you can attach 1 disk, 2nd disk, 3rd disk, 4th disk, 5th disk, up to 200. Whichever virtual Esxi, suppose this Esxi connects to this target, it will get all the disks that are attached to this target. Suppose we attach, instead of 3, we attach 200 disks. So whichever initiator connects to this target name gets every disk that is attached to it. So that's a very cool thing. You can attach 1000 disks here. If the Esxi1 connects to this target, it gets 1000 disks remotely available for it to use. So that's a really cool concept. And okay, so once you give this target name, let's click next. Now it says, hey, who are the initiators? We already know who are the initiators, right? But we just need to identify them on the network. So we're going to click the add button here, right? We're going to tell this target, your initiators are the 2 hypervisors. And be careful here, guys. There are several ways to identify the 2 hypervisors, but we're going to go down here, enter a value for the selected type. We're going to go for the easiest identification of the hypervisors. If you drop down this list, you can see IQN number, which is a storage name, storage address, DNS name, which is the machine name itself, Esxi, your first name is Esxi1, IP address, you know that, MAC address, you know that, right? Physical address of the network card. So we're going to go for the easiest and fastest one, which is IP address. So we know the IP address of Esxi1 and we know the IP address of Esxi2. So IP address of Esxi1 is 192.168.200.3. Be very, very careful here, guys. IP address must be selected here and give the correct IP address. Some students make that mistake, 196 and 169 here, something like that, and then you can't discover the disks on the other side. So make sure your IP address is correct and press OK. So one initiator added here. The good thing is, the security is that these 3 disks cannot be just requested by any machine in the network. Whichever machine's IP address or name you add here, only these machines can connect to these disks. So that's a good thing, right? I'm going to click add again because I need to attach this disk to the Esxi2 as well. So let's click add. And we know the drill now. just go down here, be careful, please make sure you select IP address and do not make a mistake here, give the correct, just double check your IP address, that's all, mistakes happen. 200.4, right? 192, 168,
I'm sorry, so the IP address you're typing here is the same one in our machine?
So see this, if I go to Esxi1, this is the IP address of this
Yeah,
machine.
we can check
Yeah,
one. Where is the IP address?
so the IP address that I'm putting here is the IP address of this machine, Esxi1. And then the other one is Esxi2 IP address. They don't have to be started for that. Hopefully I answered your question. Okay. Yeah.
So how you know which IP address it is? So you already know that, or you check from somewhere? Where we should check
So
it?
as an administrator, we should remember that. But obviously, since we are the administrator and I gave those IP addresses, so yeah, we remember that. Otherwise, if these machines were powered on, we could have just gone there and check it. But you can just go for server 1. See this? I'm on server 1, and I can go to the DNS as well, just to confirm. I know that these are the IP address, and we all need to just, oh, okay, it's not letting me go to DNS right now. So, but in DNS you can also check. So for now, what I can say is trust me. Okay. So 192.168.200.3, as an administrator, we will know that already. But I have given, if you've exactly been following me with everything, so then yes, this will be the IP address of your machines as well. If you're given some other IP address, then you need to remember that. So I'm going to press OK now. Okay, so make sure the IP addresses are correct. And make sure that the 200 is capital size, right? The 200 is capital. Don't go for lowercase. It is capital, right? Make sure it is capital. Okay, and then let's go ahead. Okay.
What do you mean? What do you mean by capital?
I was thinking who's gonna be. Okay, so no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, there's no lowercase capital in numbers. So okay, let's click next. Oh, that's Linux logic. Okay, yeah. So guys, next one is enable CHAP. CHAP is Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol, which is in reverse CHAP. So this is a security protocol. Now, first of all, this page is for extra security. Like when the target is offering the disks, then CHAP and username, password, whatever you give here, it prompts for those username passwords. When initiators are requesting the disk from target, then reverse CHAP and it prompts for the username password, right? So what happens is that first of all, if you're doing that in your production environment, in your secure network, you don't need that. This is an extra security, right? Some banks say that, okay, no, we have to do that. So it normally prompts again and again. Sometimes it gets annoying. So it's just an extra security. We are already in a secure environment, so we don't really need to put that. But if suppose you're in a military institute or some very strict environment, you can put that extra security. But it does pop up again and again, and sometimes it actually causes some issues as well. And also this password is clear text, so anyone can, if their hackers are in, they can actually see the password. But it's just an extra security of username password. We don't need to put that here, and click next. So guys, this is the summary, but you can see that we created a target. We defined initiators who are going to request the disk, target who's going to offer the disk.
Sorry, Amir, can you go back just one step? Or so which one? Okay, so which one you choose it? So for enable CHAP, that
we
one.
did not choose anything.
So
we skipped this page.
So how can I skip it because I have no next? Oh, right now, okay, okay.
So okay, save says, but is that done automatically by the initiator? Automatically, no. Is that done? That what? The authentication. Oh no, we have to define here, and then it will be implemented. Yes, on the other initiator side as well as target side, but we have to just define it here. Right? Okay. So nothing to click here and click next, right? And this is a summary of that, and we defined the target and the initiators. The good thing is we don't have to define target again for adding the next disk and the third disk as well, or even 1,000 disks when we do. We just have to define target and initiators only once, but not again, right? So I'm just gonna click create here now, right? So once you click create, click close. Okay, so one disk has been added and target and initiators have been defined, right? Now I'm going to add the second and third disk one by one. The good thing is you don't have to define target and initiators again now. You will just keep on adding the second and third disk to the same target. Under the same target, you're gonna add the second and third disk. Whoever over the network connects to this target gets all three disks together, right? So now I'm gonna right click here anywhere on this white screen, right click, or go to tasks and right click here. It's the same thing. New Esxi virtual disk, right? Here or here, same thing. New Esxi virtual disk, and you can see the same screen again, which we went for, but now it's going to be very short procedure. So we're going for the second disk, the F disk. Yay! Okay, so F disk, and we click next. We go with the naming convention that we've been giving here, 102, right? 102, right? And click next. Okay, and then yes, we're going to use the whole disk here, all the size of the disk we're going to use, and we're going to keep it dynamically expanding or thin provision, right? And click next. Now you can see that you don't have to create a new Esxi target. You can just keep select the existing target, and this second disk will be added to the same target where first disk is already added. So there will be two disks under this target now. Whoever connects to this target will get next. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to click next here. Existing is okay, and click next and create, right? And close. Then you know the drill now. We're going to go for the third disk. So I can right click here on the white area here and click new Esxi virtual disk. Then I'm going to go for the third disk here, G drive, right? And in G drive, I'm going to click next. So you know the name now. It's going to be LON03 and click next. It's going to be 400. We're using the whole size. Dynamically expanding is okay, or thin provision. So let's say, so we are creating only one data store and adding multiple new LUNs to the data store, right? No. We're gonna be adding 3 LUNs, and on each LUN one data store will be created, so it will be 3 data stores we're gonna create on top of 3 LUNs. But technically we can create on one LUN 5 data stores, 10 data stores, 20 data stores as well. It's just a partition. So we're creating 3 LUNs, which are 3 shared disks over the network. On top of each of the LUN or shared disk, we're gonna have 1 data store. So 1 data store, 1 data store, 1 data store, 3 data stores total. We're going to do that exactly, then you will also understand at that time as well. So, okay, let's click next. It's being added to the same target again, which is okay, right? Existing target. Next, and create, and close. So guys, it should look like exactly this. And so what we have done till now is that we have added 3 disks, 400 GB each. We formatted those disks locally with NTFS partition of Windows. Then we installed the Esxi server software inside. We converted each disk to Esxi disk, and we told these disks, hey, you're going to be shared with ESXi1 and ESXi2. and then we created them. So for now, what we can say is that this server-side task for making the disk ready to be shared over the network is done on the server side. So we need to have a screenshot of this, screenshot number 7, 3 LUNs created. We didn't map it yet. That obviously we're gonna do later when the vCenter is fully configured. So let's take a screenshot number 7. 3 LUNs created on server 1 actually. Go for 3 LUNs created on server 1. So three LUNs created on server 1. Screenshot 7. Oops. 3 LUNs created on server 1. I'll put that screenshot there as well. Screenshot 7, 3 LUNs created on server 1. So the sample screenshot is there as well. Okay guys, so if we go back now, well, the process of configuring the whole vCenter we need to go through, but that's gonna be obviously done on next week. But what we can do here is we can go to server 2 here, and well, the good thing is, the best thing we could do now is keep this screen here, and we can see this, right click, power end, suspend guest, don't shut down, suspend. If you cannot hopefully everyone is able to suspend. If you cannot suspend, then we can actually click finish and shut down this, then it's okay. But if you can suspend, then when you unsuspend next time, so it will exactly open in this screen. So we will know, oh yeah, we have just deployed that vCenter. And one more thing about this vCenter, it takes long time to start. So in next class and onwards, all classes, please start your virtual machines 15 minutes before the class. 15 minutes before the class, start your server 2, especially server 1 and server 2, because it takes long time to start the services. You have to wait 10 minutes after logging in. Wait 10 minutes, do nothing. Right? So you're going to see that first.
Amir, unfortunately, I clicked the finish.
Okay, that's
so
-10. Anyone else? Yeah. Okay, just kidding. So it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's no big deal. So yes, Xiang, LUN is a physical disk or a disk shared over the network. Right, Xiang? It is shared over the network. It's a disk. Yes. Okay, so guys, everyone seeing this? Anyone has already suspended the machine? Because I did not, right? Anyone suspended the machine already? Oh, okay. So there are. Oh, okay. Too late. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead and suspend the machines. Right click, power, suspend guest. Then let's talk about. So guys, just collect your screenshots and upload. Then we'll talk about LUN. What is logical unit number, right? But you need to suspend. So I'm gonna suspend server. I have suspended already server 2. I'm gonna right click and go to power and suspend server 1 as well. So even if at time you have shut down or click the finish button, then just suspend the machine. So suspend and upload your screenshots. Collect your screenshots in your MS Word document and upload it on the Blackboard. And yes.
So we suspend server 1 too?
Yes, suspend server 1 too.
Okay.
So I'll just put that definition here as well. Jiang is asking what is LUN. First of all, I'll just put it here. That's a good question. Okay, so it is a logical number is a unique identifier for designing an individual, designating, not designing, seriously, designating an individual or collection of physical or virtual storage devices. So you identify physical or virtual storage devices that execute input-output commands with a host computer. So as defined by the small system computer Esxi. So Esxi standards, it's just an identifying number of a physical disk or a virtual disk that executes reads and writes. So overall, that is there. So it's just a physical disk over the network that is being called as LUN, but it doesn't have to be over the network. Here in production environment, normally LUN is considered for not for local disk. We just call that for those disks which are coming from the SAN or storage area network, right? But this is just to identify the virtual storage devices or physical devices that we're talking about. So this is pretty straightforward, but normally in production environment you will just consider the disks that are coming from over the network from SAN as LUNs. So that's why just what we call in storage is LUN. Okay, so when we get this lecture link, so here I'm just gonna stop the video now, and then it will take 1.5 hours to get converted, and then I will upload it to YouTube. So by tonight or tomorrow morning.